Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever edition of the r/Indieheads podcast. I am your host, Matty, aka Recon EG. Here on this day's podcast, we have...
We have herpes on Reddit. Nick.
I'm Bert306 on Reddit. My name's Alex.
The Dark Hobo on Reddit. My name's AJ.
I'm Killatrap on Reddit. My name's Jeremiah.
And of course, so this is the first ever r/Indieheads podcast. If you don't know, we are all members of the Reddit community Indieheads. It's basically like a place to discuss indie music, basically. It's sort of like r/Hip-Hop Heads for indie music. It's a great subreddit. Y'all should check it out. If you're listening to this, you're probably you probably use the forum anyways.
Oh, I'd admit.
So of course the first segment we're going to talk about news, basically. So like the top 5 news events. Well, actually, I think it's like 6 because we threw someone else in there. The top 6 news events on r/Indieheads, and the first one that we have is the fact that Stephen Colbert on his final Colbert Report, he played Holland 1945 by Neutral Milk Hotel as the outro.
Deeply moved.
Yeah, that's just a great. I mean, it's cool to think that like other people besides the 10,000 people or whatever that on Indieheads listen to the same music as us, and I mean it's cool to when that started playing, I was like, whoa, like he actually listens to Neutral Milk Hotel. I would have never expected it.
I think he said that Neutral Milk Hotel is like his favorite band of all time or something.
Yeah,
like that, right?
There was a nice little story I read somewhere that he was when he was a boy in his youth. I think he lost his father and 2 of his brothers in a car accident, and then the rest of his siblings went off to school, and he said he was kind of lost for a while and found himself in the poetry of that album, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, which I'd imagine a lot of people on the subreddit could relate to in some way. So that was kind of a little fact.
Yeah, I think I saw that same interview, but I don't remember if it was on the music subreddit or Indieheads. I was looking through the Indieheads thread and I couldn't find it. It's the top post of the week on music too, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, here's what the post says. He had 10 older siblings, so he was like the youngest of 11 kids in that family. So they all went to college, and he was basically all by himself. And his 2 of his older brothers died in a plane crash, and he had a lot of books, and he liked the strange, sad poetry of a song called Holland 1945 by an indie band from Athens, Georgia. He didn't play the whole song. He played a snippet from it, and it starts from like the second verse or so or something, where he starts singing, "But now we must pick up every piece." I think I don't know what part of the song it is. It's one of the verses, but yeah, I like that song as a goodbye song. It's really good.
It's a very good goodbye song.
Worked well with the episode, which was just like a big goodbye.
Yeah,
I didn't actually watch it because I actually have not watched that much Colbert, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself for not watching Colbert Report.
Well, it was just one big goodbye episode. They basically tried to get everyone they knew that was famous and just throw them on the stage. Like the Cookie Monster was there.
It got a little crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it's really with a lot of people. Like Jon Stewart, the other whatever guy on Comedy Central, and yeah, the whole entire thing was pretty nice to watch. Alright.
That's great to know. So after that, the next news event is the fact that Modest Mouse finally announced a new album called Strangers to Ourselves, and they also dropped a new song, Lampshades on Fire.
Yeah. You can go.
Actually, no, I haven't listened to it yet because I actually have not listened to Modest Mouse at all. I'm kind of that's another thing I'm ashamed about.
Yeah, I think I need to make a confession. So actually, recently. There was a post about, like, overrated albums, and so I posted a bunch of stuff that a lot of people would never agree with. This, it seems really off topic, but I'll get to it. So, so then I didn't include, like, I have a lot of other things that I think are overrated, but Modest Mouse is good. Like, I think that they have a really solid discography. Their first few albums are really good at talking about an overall theme, like Lonesome Crowded West, like that isolation, loneliness feel is really relatable for a lot of people. And wait, I think I got them mixed up actually. This Is a Long Drive was what I just meant to say.
Long Drive, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Lonesome Crowded West was a really nice album for that urbanization of the area that the band members are growing up in. But I think that, and the other thing that I really like to talk about when I'm talking about Modest Mouse's like early stuff is that, like, you know, Isaac Brock was like in his teen years, like 19 or something, when they were in the recording process for This Is a Long Drive, and you know, that album's a really emotion-packed album, so it's really cool. I really like when young musicians are really going hard on some albums, like, you know, Dramamine is a great song, Talking Shit About a Pretty Sunset, great song, but I never listened to Modest Mouse as like a band that I would just like go to when I have nothing else to listen to. Like, I don't think they're bad, I think they're really good, but I never like went straight for them. I'm not a huge Modest Mouse fan.
You're just like sort of like a casual fan, basically. Like, sometimes you listen to it, and it's like you enjoy it, like, oh, why don't I listen to this more? Like, then you just go, oh, well,
Yeah, I dig a few of their songs, and I mean, I can sort of like, you know, talk about the direction that they've been going in recently, you know, with like more pop-oriented, pop-rock feel, with like Good News for people who love bad news. There's like Float On, and you know, which was like their big hit, and then We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank, which a lot of Modest Mouse fans probably, you know, they wouldn't say it's as good as their other stuff, but they, you know, they like it still because, you know, they're Modest Mouse fans. But I think it's going to be interesting to see where Modest Mouse goes with their new record.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it has been a while.
It's been like 8
2007?
years.
2007 was when We Were Dead came out.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting just to see where their sound's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's obviously a lot more produced and clean, which I mean is understandable. It's just like what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Isaac
yeah.
Brock isn't really like a kid anymore, so he's gonna real life or adult stuff. But I mean, it was Lampshades on Fire. I really enjoyed it. Like, it's really, really well produced, which I know is a turnoff for a lot of Modest Mouse like fans because we all love Lonesome Crowded West and the angst that's there. But like, I mean, it reminded me of Tiny Cities Made of Ashes, like that. There's that driving, like funky, like popish feel to it, but it was a lot more like, it was really well produced. It was a good track. I liked it.
Yeah, I got a
That was
very
bad.
float-on-y vibe from it too, with the kind of vocal thing he was doing there, like at the start there, just kind of gave me like a pop feel.
I mean, it's not surprising. Like,
Production and
usually
everything.
the first single you want to try to get like everyone, like just sort of like a mass appeal, and you know the best
Yeah.
mass appeal you can get is sort of like a more like poppy vibe,
For
which
sure,
is nothing
for
wrong
sure.
with that.
I think it's a great leading single, and I'm interested in their new album. I'm not sure what it's going to sound like, but
I'm sure if
I mean,
Modest Mouse was
they've still
listening
got
to
it, it sounds like.
if Modest Mouse was listening to their fans originally, then like after the release of their last album, then they would probably take criticisms to mind. I don't know what singles they released originally from We Were Dead, but like, you know, releasing that first single was really important. I mean, a lot of albums this year had really great lead singles, like Run the Jewels 2. I don't know. They released like 3 singles before.
Yeah,
the
all
album was
three of
released.
the Run the Jewels 2 singles were just like
I
fantastic.
don't know which
Yeah.
one was first, but
I actually didn't listen to any of those singles until I heard the album.
they released Oh My Darling Don't Cry, Blockbuster Night Part 1, and Close Your Eyes before the release of the album. And I don't remember which order that was in, but
I think it was Blockbuster Night, and then Oh My Darling, and then Close Your Eyes. I think that was the 3.
yeah, okay. So I mean, like, I'm sure that those 3 tracks are great. Like, a lot of people will say those are like some of the best tracks on Run the Jewels 2, some of the band's
easily.
best tracks. But, you know, I mean, as a fan, like, they run the release. I know we're not really talking about Modest Mouse right now, but
It's fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
like, if you're a fan of the first Run the Jewels record and you notice that, oh, there's only 1 year in between the release of, you know, Run the Jewels 1 and Run the Jewels 2, did they rush it? Are they putting a lot of good enough work in?
Oh, they
And,
did. Run the Jewels 2 was a lot better than like.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Jewels
I
1.
loved Run the Jewels 2, but I mean, I'm talking about, like, you know, like in the perspective of someone that, like, before the release of the album.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
hearing those songs
but
will
the
calm
thing
your
is-
ears.
but like the way like it was a year between, like, just okay. I think is I'm a huge Death Grips fan, and they released like quality projects like No Up Deep Web and Mighty Star came out like within like 6 months of each other or something like that. It's like it's like, so that's sort of like the time thing. It depends on certain artists. Like certain artists, like they need some time to really craft something, and other artists they can just do like something fantastic within like a year or a few months.
And
Yeah, I mean,
Modest
like-
Mouse have been putting out a couple EPs. They had 2 released in 2009.
I
So,
didn't know that. See, you know.
they're
my-
still kind of working around.
I think those were like B-sides though.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, it's cool to be excited for a band that hasn't released anything in a while. I mean, think of like just this year, Aphex Twin's Cyro came out, and he hasn't released something for like
13 years. Well, he hasn't released an album in 13 years. I think he released some like EPs and stuff.
He hasn't released an album.
But I think the last thing he
under
released
Aphex
was like
Twin.
in 2007 under like a different name.
Yeah,
I think that was the last thing he did.
That's how it goes about releasing stuff a lot. But I mean, that's one of the best feelings is getting really hyped about something, and I'm totally happy for Modest Mouse to come out with their new album.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new Radiohead album.
Yeah.
Radiohead. Okay. Speaking of Radiohead, before we go into the next topic, let's see. What do you guys think of Tomorrow's Modern Boxes by Tom York?
I love that. I don't know if this is like if it's like a guilty pleasure or I just like stan every Radiohead release at all.
See, I didn't listen to it that much when it came out. I think I listened to it like once. Like I'm really bad when it comes like this year. I've been kind of bad when it comes to listening to albums because like there would be other like albums I'll listen to like crazy, and albums like I'll listen to it once and be like, oh, I didn't listen to that again. I probably should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Modern Boxes was a one listen for me. I appreciated what he was going for, but I wasn't too into it.
There were a few tracks on there that I thought were like better than the like the Eraser, and better than some of Amok too. Like the Motherload was really good, and let's see, Truth Ray was really good. I mean, you know, he was exploring. You know, I mean, like he wasn't really going too far from Amok and the Eraser. Like there wasn't a lot of variation because he's still making sort of dance tracks type of stuff. Like there's not a lot of he's not really exploring other stuff. But I thought it was good. I don't know. I'm a pretty big Radiohead fan, so I'd probably say anything that Radiohead releases is good. But
Yeah. I liked how it came out on BitTorrent also.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that. I like the way it was just because it's nice knowing that some of these like really big artists are like, okay, we realize that like the music industry like they're kind of outdated. They don't really know how to release stuff nowadays. And it's like, okay, we know what we're doing. We know the future of like how music is going to be released.
Oh, I love how much of that we're seeing with just kind of albums coming out of nowhere. I mean,
oh god, I do love surprise albums. Like just
Death Grips really kind of.
yeah,
they were the one. I
idea,
say
but-
that they're the ones. Okay, I say this. This is sort of a conspiracy, but I say that like Beyonce released her album the way she did because of Death Grips.
There's a picture. There's a
And there's
picture.
a picture of
picture
that
of
confirms
Beyonce
my
and Robert
conspiracy that
Pattinson.
they did this.
I tell that to everyone whenever that back in whatever it was, February, January, I'd go to a party
Yeah.
and Drunken Love would be playing, and my conversation starter would be, "Hey, did you know that Beyonce's new album was inspired by this experimental hip hop group called Death Grips?" And the looks I
and
would
they're like, get away from you, nerd.
Oh my god! But I do like. I mean, they've done this again. Death Grips. They've done this 3 times now. And the thing that was like that's even funnier about the Beyonce is that like a month earlier, Death Grips they dropped Gun Red Plates, which was also a surprise drop and was also a visual album. And it's just like
Exactly.
what?
It's hard to deny.
But I think the Gun Red Plates was. I think that was just like a coincidence. They are both visual albums. I'm just gonna say it's a coincidence.
Was Beyonce's album also a visual album?
Yeah, it was also a visual album.
I didn't know that. I
Until
didn't even,
the
I
Power of
haven't
the
listened
Beak's
to that.
out, and Beyonce was revealed to play guitar on one of the tracks. That's the way.
Yeah, Jenny does win.
No. For Powers of the Bee, it's gonna be all Beyonce samples instead of Bjork samples.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It could be cool. Like we'll talk. Okay, actually, Death Grips is one of the like things we're gonna talk about later. But let's get to the next topic. D'Angelo, after 14 years, he finally dropped his album.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about this a lot
So
later because
good.
it's one of my top 3 albums of the year. But that's another, out of the blue, no expectations.
Basically, just like a day before it came out, he's like, "Hey guys, the album's gonna come out. Here's a single."
But
Yep.
he rushed too because of all the news that has been happening, and
Mhm.
like listening to the album, the cover of the album, the song title, some of the hooks.
the
and
album
everything.
title even.
Yeah, it all fits in like really well. I'm glad
It's very good timing. Very good
got it out
timing.
at a topical time. Like with Run the Jewels too as well. I saw them in Detroit the night after the Ferguson indictment, and there was still a lot of like emotion running through there. And it's
Yeah.
just a good blend of music and artist's identity, kind of.
Dude, okay,
Using
I'm so
what
mad. I'm so mad to get to see Run the Jewels because like they were in. The thing is, I live next to St. Louis, and they were in St. Louis like the day
Yeah.
of that thing, and I
Yeah.
could have gone, but my mom was like, "You're not going to the concert because the Ferguson decision's going to happen." I'm just like, oh.
They were
Even I was
fantastic.
worried about that too. They're really great though.
I mean, hopefully
But-
they come around next year because they'll probably come back around next year because it seems like
Yeah.
they're going to do an album a year because they're
They
going to.
said they're working on Run the Jewels 3.
Yeah, they're going to start
work
recording in
like,
January, which is
yeah,
it's
January.
which Well, I'm glad Run the Jewels is very good. I just want, like, solo LP. I love solo LP. I think Cancer for Cure is great. I'll Sleep When You're Dead is also fantastic. Fantastic Damage is also really good. I really want solo LP, but, like, I don't mind Run the Jewels, but, like, I really hope after this album they go back to doing, like, their solo stuff.
Yeah.
For D'Angelo, though, I'm surprised it's getting left off. Or, not
it's getting left off because they're putting up
these end-of-the-year lists because they put them up way too early.
The reason for that is, like, well, Beyonce's album came out,
it came out in December also. I think it's because, like, December's a very slow month for music, and that's why they put all these lists.
Yeah,
and I think most, like, artists, they kind of realize that, and then they drop their albums a little bit later.
Yeah, but you also have to think about, like, the amount of work that, like, music review websites and reviewers put into lists. Like, they probably started their work in, like, November, like, late November. I don't know specifically, but,
I think they probably started, like, beginning of November. Like, they're already putting together the list. They're trying to get, all the staff members, and they're trying to figure out how do we get this list.
Yeah, you have to have, like, a really good album in order to, like, rearrange your entire list to put that one.
It's the highest scored album on Pitchfork for 2014. It got a 9.4. That's the highest score they awarded this year, and it's completely absent from their list. I mean, their scores obviously.
And I think they had an article posted on that about, like, he's number one in our hearts, but he's not number one on our list or something like that.
Yeah.
I think did they release their best of 2014 before?
Oh yeah, they released it. It was
a
few days ago.
It was the day before this album dropped, but. I mean, with that, Pitchfork scores don't even matter, so that's not important.
That was the thing I was, like, a little bit mad about when the Pitchfork released. Okay, I don't want to talk about it too much because, like, we're talking about other people's lists when we're getting ready to do our own list. But
it was kind of a news story.
Well, I mean, it's all right. It's not
because I found it very weird that, like, Sun Kill Moon's album and, like, Swan's album, even though they had the highest scores that year with 9.2, they weren't number one. And then Run the Jewels 2 gets number one. Which
Here's what I was expecting Pitchfork to do. I thought, the whole year going through, I thought it's going to be Swans and Benji 1 and 2. Then this Mark Kozilek feud comes out, and I thought Pitchfork's going to try and be cheeky. They're going to be funny. They're going to give Swans number 3, Sun Kill Moon number 2, and they're going to put The War on Drugs at number 1, just as a kind of middle finger to Mark Kozilek.
Sun Kill Moon number 100, War on Drugs number 99.
And they also, not to mention that before Run the Jewels 2 had even dropped, and the other 5 albums that they put higher than Benji, they had Benji at number 9 in their top albums of the decade back in, I think they dropped that list in
And was
July.
it like number 6 in 2014?
It's a puzzling decision that they, moved it down, and I'm sure it's just because of Mark
beef
acting out,
Yeah, that all got pretty skewed because of the that hardcore indie beef. But,
hardcore indie beef, oh my god.
I could go on
crappy.
We gotta have story time sometime. I could go on a little tirade about that. I saw Mark back in September and I could see the fires fuming in his eyes about it.
I saw him after the hillbilly thing, and he was so mad about it. He was just ranting to the audience. He was like, "Those hillbillies don't know what they're talking about." I think it's like, and they're like, "I love you, Canadians. You Canadians are so much better than those hillbillies."
He was kind of yelling at the stagehands. I saw him in this tiny club, and he's kind of telling the stagehands, like, "Hey, the lights are on and the AC's really loud. I can't hear myself singing over here." And my friend I was with, he goes, "Hey, but it's probably better than, the war on drugs." And Mark kind of stares off into the distance and he goes, "The war on drugs can suck my cock. The war on drugs can suck my cock twice."
Oh my god.
What is his deal?
I don't know, man. He's a little weird.
We were talking about the D'Angelo album. I think we're gonna talk again. It's on one of your guys' list, so we'll probably talk about it a bit more.
It's a great album, one of the best of the year.
Yeah.
I still have to listen to it a bit more because I feel like there's so much that I need to unpackage with that album. Like it seems like I need to
you gotta have a really good audio setup.
I need to have good audio. I need to have a really dedicated listen to it.
You just kind of need to sit there and listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get your beats.
It's one of those albums that
get your
feels
beats
important.
on. This is serious listening. Get your beats, man.
Get your beats. Last time.
I'll get my Beats pod. I bought it after watching a Nicki Minaj video. But okay,
I've only. Go on. No, you're good.
I want to go off topic again. Those beats, they're in every freaking music video. Little Beats pods or anything Beats is in so many music videos.
Yeah,
I want DJ Khaled's headphones. The We the Best sound.
I saw a video about Beats, and the main point that a lot of people that own headphones that are not Beats will tell you, Beats are overrated, Beats are overpriced, stuff like that. There's a reason that they cost more, but it's because of the way that
it's the advertising costs more than the actual making of them.
Their money. is a lot different from, like Sennheiser or Audio-Technica or something like that, because they put a ton of money into advertisement, and that's why you see it in, like, every hip-hop video or whatever. And that's why, and they also put a lot into packaging, because if you buy a pair of Beats headphones, it's like buying the headphones version of an iPhone, because it's just like really well packaged, and it's like, it's really easy, fun to open or whatever.
I think I did saw that video you're talking about also.
It was Marquise Brownlee, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the video.
Yeah, I saw that video a while ago about Beats, and I mean, yeah, they're
not horrible headphones, but like you could buy much better for cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but all right, we won't talk too much about
because
Beats.
Because actually, before we get to the next topic, I was talking with some friends on Xbox, and like out there telling, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like Beats, and I'm like, no, don't get Beats, get like Audio-Technica M50s, like they're cheaper, they're better, and I'm like, nah, man, we're getting Beats because like, yeah, they look better, something like that. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, if you wear any pair of headphones other than Beats in public, someone will ask you, what headphones are those? And you're like, you need to tell them what headphones they are, and they're like,
unless you're into looking like a hipster, pretty much.
Are they better than Beats? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next news event. Casey Hill, the newest Good Music signing is Casey Hill.
Yeah.
Literally who?
And I have it in my notes.
Yeah, I'll send you some I'll send you some pictures, man.
I have it in the notes. Casey Hill sings to Good Music instead of signs. So, before, and it was one of the top events in India.
We need to talk
I was
about
wondering.
Who's on Good Music right now?
Good Music, I think right now the roster is Big Sean,
Kanye West,
Pusha T, Kid Cudi left, Common left. There's a couple of producers on there, like Travis Scott is signed as a producer. I think Hudson Mohawk signed as a producer.
All right.
I think
is Sci-Hi the Prince still around?
Who? Sci-Hi the Prince? Oh yeah, he's still on there. And I think some other girl, I think Tiana Taylor or something like that is her name, and no one really cares about.
Yeah, it's not sounding like that. I mean, I love Kanye as much as anybody, but that's not that impressive of a roster.
Oh God, no. The
problem, and I know people are waiting
Travis
on
Scott is GOAT, dude.
Cruel. They made Cruel Summer, and people are asking for Cruel Winter. I see it on hip hop guys all the time.
I don't know why they want Cruel Winter. Cruel Summer was not even that good.
Cruel Summer was so bad.
I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was like...
there were a few bangers on there.
Outside of the singles, which were serious bangers, I still play Cold probably
Click
like
so
once a
good.
week.
You're as cold as ice.
And yeah,
Sacrifice our
I think
love.
nobody wants a follow-up to that album.
Oh God, no.
Serious.
I love Click though. I mean, like really.
Okay, let me talk about... Okay,
Outside of the singles.
I think it's good. It adds a little bit of diversity to the label, and she only has like one song out. It's actually a pretty decent song, even though it's kind of very FKA Twigs vibe. And I think just Kanye wanted his own FKA Twigs on the label.
Say Twigs. Are we just gonna say Twigs, or are we gonna say
it's Twigs, FKA Twigs, same thing.
Yeah, okay, Twigs.
Because she was originally known as Twigs, and the FKA stands for formerly known as.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Because someone was like, my name is Twigs. You can't have this name. She's like, okay. That's what. So, but Good Music is just like, it's not a horrible label, but like they have like, you worry about Kanye with some of the people he's signed to the label. Like Big Sean. Big Sean to me is like the perfect embodiment of like a mediocre rapper. He fits everything that like the average rapper should have, and that's what makes him really boring.
That's J. Cole though.
That's also
J. Cole is the perfect embodiment.
Don't you hey.
J. Cole's the perfect embodiment of mediocre. No, J. Cole sucks. J. Cole is awful.
I wouldn't go that far.
J. Cole
okay,
is not okay. From what it seems, he's not a bad guy, but J. Cole he's the perfect embodiment of mediocre. When you think of like the perfect, he's basically like the create a superstar, like a wrestler of rapping. He's the creative rapper, okay? He fits like all these like perfect. He fits all these like perfect stereotypes you want in your rapper, but that's what I hate about him because it makes him so boring. Is that he has no, just everything he has is like just built off of like this perfect rapper. And that's he has no little special quirks about him that makes him really good.
Yeah. I mean, J. Cole made a song called Fire Squad boring. I don't know how. Like.
Okay, wait.
That's the one where he dissed like Iggy Azalea and all of them, right?
Yeah, his hot diss. You know, he tried dropping the mic on everybody, and I just wasn't feeling it because he backs up his hot diss about the appropriation of hip hop culture with I'm just kidding, man. It's all good fun. But hey, I'm trying to.
If you're gonna say something like that, back it up. Don't be like, oh, hold on, guys. Just because everyone's getting sort of offended by it, don't be like, oh,
the beat cuts out and he goes, I'm just playing, kind of.
Is that what he said?
I don't think he wasn't really trying to diss people though. He was just kind of.
I mean, he's speaking truth. I mean, because Iggy Azalea, I hate Iggy Azalea. I hate everything she represents in hip hop right now.
If the Grammy line comes true, it'll be kind of.
It'll be a sad day.
I mean, how does that sound?
I mean, we shouldn't care about the Grammys anyways because they kind of suck. But like, it's still very sad because it means that this is where the mainstream is right now. And it'll be like
will win a Grammy one day.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah, one day.
For the 5th album.
Because the Grammys, the past 2 years, they've made some horrible decisions. Like the Album of the Year decision, Frank Ocean deserved that fucking Album of the Year. He should have had that Album of the Year.
Yeah, but he said the N-word. He said the N-word.
Hasn't Kanye said the N-word and he's gone there?
Their classifications are very strange. Their time constraints are weird. Like you have Reflector being on the ballot this year and not last year because it came out 2 weeks past their cutoff is in
October, I think.
The middle of it's September 30th. September 30th. I mean,
it's really weird. It makes for such a strange kind of thing, like where you had Kendrick.
But I think it's because they have like Grammy. I think it takes time for them to like get the nominees and get them decided. I think it's because they have to give it to like they send like tons and tons of like artists and other people involved in music like their ballots or whatever, something like that.
It makes it harder for me to take them seriously when their time constraints are so strange and how something can be pushed off for like that long.
Mm-hmm.
How many judges are there for the Grammys anyway?
There's a Grammys committee, and then they have. Let's see. I don't know.
Well, how many people are in the Illuminati?
Let me count real quick.
It's me.
How many people are in Good Music?
I don't know.
I think the Good Music, they have a lot of producers signed. They don't have that many like actual artists signed. What it seems like. I mean, hopefully Casey Hill, she seems like she has potential. Hill. Could be good.
I haven't checked her out.
She's pretty hot, too, so, I mean,
and if she's pretty hot, I mean, good for her getting exposure, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Signed a new artist, sort of taking a risk, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty cool.
Good Music's definitely a recognizable name, too. People are gonna, kids in high school are gonna hear this and be like, oh, Good Music, Kanye's on that.
Kanye. I do like Pusha T. Good Music, I think the best artist besides Kanye is obviously Pusha T, right?
Yeah.
Casey Hill is pretty good.
Casey Hill in her one song is better than Pusha T.
Well,
everything is Pusha T, don't you remember? Everything.
To be fair, Sci-Hi's verse on So Appalled is like...
oh my god, dude.
Like, that's like my life.
Freaked out.
I walked by, I was sitting out of the set, I walked by Pusha T's set at Pitchfork Fest this summer. I was going to go get food while he came on, and then I was walking by the stage, and he was just playing the verses that he had done on Kanye songs, because I was like, I don't know any of his music, his solo stuff, I'm not really that into it. So I walked by the stage, and he's playing So Appalled, he was playing Click, and one other song off of Cruel Summer, and I was a little disappointed, because...
Yeah, because My Name Is a Name is a solid album. I think the problem with My Name Isn't My Name, I think there's like 3 tracks where it's like, oh, these tracks are not good at all. Like, these are like solid filler tracks.
There was Nostalgia with Kendrick.
Nostalgia, that's a great song.
Enjoyed that song a lot, yeah.
But he has a song, the songs I'm talking about is the one with Kelly Rowland, which is obviously just sort of like a boring song that's very reminiscent of like early 2000s. It's like Pusha T's Ja Rule song. It's his Ja Rule. And then he has a song with, he has a song with Big Sean and 2 Chainz on the album, and the song, his verse and like the beat itself is fantastic. But when 2 Chainz and Big Sean get on there, it's just like, oh my god, how'd this go from like this great song to like just hot garbage?
I hope we see a Casey Hill feature on one of maybe Big Sean or Pusha T or maybe even Kanye's next album.
She'll be an easy hook girl probably.
Maybe she'll be on the new Death Grips album.
Maybe so. If she sounds like Twigs, that kind of hip-hop...
I don't think she sounds like Twigs, but it'll get very Twigs vibes, I guess.
It'll be interesting to see how that kind of blends with that sound.
She has the tooth gap,
for her on hooks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on to our next news event. So after a decade, Jax White, he had hidden singles with his former band, like 7 Inches. They finally surfaced after being hidden in furniture for a decade.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how you lose stuff in furniture. That never happened.
No. They purposely put it there, just waiting for people to find it.
I mean, that's cool.
It's the rich.
But Jack White
it's a very Jack White thing to do.
It's a very Jack White thing to do. Like he is.
It's a pretty rock and roll song too.
Like, actually, I haven't heard it.
I have not listened to it either.
Yeah, I haven't
heard
it. I didn't know. Oh, okay. What did Jack White? He said something he was kind of in hot water earlier this year. He said something.
Yeah, he actually made a joke about Meg White. It was knock knock.
Was that him who made the joke, or I just saw that on like a joke on Indieheads.
Hey.
Oh yeah, no, he said something.
He didn't say that. That was a joke.
He said something about another artist.
He said something about like.
I'm drawing a blank on it right now. I'm gonna Google Jack White beef.
I'll look it up.
Jack White
beef.
Oh, this is gonna be weird. Yeah.
Jack White beef. Okay.
It was the Black Keys. It was the Black.
Oh
Keys.
yeah, Black Keys. Because like there was a huge fight. There was some like it got leaked somehow. Like their kids go to the same school, and like one of the people in Black Keys really hates Jack White or something like that, or the other way around.
It's Jack White. Jack White hates Dan Auerbach. I remember I read in the Rolling Stone article for the Black Keys, like Jack White one time they both like work in the same like studio area, like the studio complex. Like
I
Jack
thought their
White
kids
like,
went to the same
blocked him
school.
out. Like,
Really?
Jack White like parked
Blocked
his
him out?
car.
Are you
so
talking?
Dan Auerbach couldn't leave.
Oh, I thought that you were thinking of like the Frank Ocean and Chris Brown fight where they're both in a parking lot and Chris Brown and his posse beat up Frank and called him a faggot.
That was stupid. I don't even want to.
Well, I don't like the Black Keys that much either, so I'd have to side.
I don't like him either. Too much.
Not
just
a big fan of Jack White personally either, though. I'm myself 30 minutes out of Detroit, but I'm not gonna just blindly love Jack White. Cause he's
Are you
kind
okay,
of
man?
Town hero here. I'm fine. Yeah, I'll be all right. But yeah, Jack White kind of does all this kind of. He takes himself a little too seriously, and I thought both of his solo albums have been all right, not great by any means. Yeah, he's a great guitar player, and he has a company I think that makes their own guitars now.
The Third Man Records is one. Like, I would definitely say Jack White's a big part of like the recent vinyl revival because he's been doing all these like crazy vinyl releases.
I respect everything he does for the industry, but not the kind of.
You just don't care for his music, but you think he does a lot good for the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack White's a pretty funny guy. Like, I was in the vinyl store and I picked up his new album, Lazzarato, and I was looking at it, and this guy came up behind me and he was like really mad. He looked super mad at me. He's like staring me down from across like the record store, and I put the thing down, and the guy comes running over. He grabs it and he like throws his body at the cashier. And he's like, bought it. It was like, what's going on here? Like, I was like, geez, this album isn't hard to find. It's only $20, man.
Okay. We're actually
probably find it in Urban.
That's how I got my copy of Government Plates, actually.
I wanted to talk about because I did get a copy of Government Plates. I wanted to talk because we're getting ready to talk about Death Grips, and I guess we can go in there right now. There's not much.
Jenny Death One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fanfare trumpets. Jenny Death One.
Okay, I have a story about how I got Government Plates. So I'd been calling my record store for a few days, and they said, "Are you guys going to have it?" And they said, "Yes, we're going to have it." And so they said, "We'll call you back when we get it," because they didn't know if they had it or not. And I was really sad because they never called me back. I went to the record store because me and my friends were going to go hang out and go to St. Louis Bread Co. after, and I go look at the record store day roses because they have them in like their certain tray by the cashier. And I was looking and I saw the cover and like I was getting ready to give a CD to a friend. I drop the CD. I run to the record. I grab it. I hold onto it and I rush to the cashier. I'm like, oh my god, it's here. I have it. It's mine. Limited to 9,000 and there's only one here and it's mine. No one else got it because no one in my town listens to Death Grips but me.
Yeah, I wish I could have got my hands on one of those.
Dude,
I have a confession to make.
Oh, here he goes.
I don't listen to Death Grips.
Banned.
Get out.
Banned.
Get out of the podcast. You're
Get
done. We're taking you out of the podcast. You're done.
Maybe
Hey, I didn't like them that much for a while.
You have a lot of company in the world at large.
Okay, so
I don't
I mean,
know.
that's like I just haven't listened to them. Like I just haven't brought myself to listen to them.
go listen to the Money Store immediately after this podcast, please.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's a
sounds
good
good.
topic. What would be?
Yeah, I think. Hey, you're on
album.
Christmas break, right? Just lock yourself up in your room and listen to their discography for a day.
What would be the album you
That's all right.
recommend?
Good.
Start with Money Store.
Ex-military or
Actually,
something?
hold on. Go. Okay, either start with Money
Chronologically.
Store, chronologically, or go with Money Store. One of the two.
You know, I was talking to my brother once about Death Grips, and I was like, yeah, they're a really good hip-hop band. I like them a lot. And then he told me, he's like, wait, you like Death Grips? Man, someone would drop kick you for saying that. It's like, what the hell?
What's the song you play for someone who says, man, I just don't get Death Grips? You say, no,
I've
you're
seen
just not
footage.
getting it."
I've seen footage is the best
You
one
say,
to
I've
go
seen
with.
footage?
I've
Hacker.
seen footage is the most like.
That's how I got my friend into
It's the
Death
most
Grips.
successful Death Grips
I
song.
also agree with Hacker. Hacker's the most kind of hip-hop... I'd say it has it's formulaic, like it's the most kind of formulaic rap song that they've put out. I've also been trying Up My Sleeves lately just because that's so balls to the wall
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, Up My Sleeves is a top 5 Death Grips song easily.
It might be my favorite Death Grip song, maybe No Love, but Up My Sleeves is so
Yeah.
crazy.
I only got
switches
my-
All right,
in
I'm
that
gonna go
song-
listen to that song and I'll report back.
all the aggression and all the crazy changes with the terracotta army line. That's the craziest. That hits so hard every time. And when it ends and goes into Billy Not Really, every single time, I just get blown out of my chair pretty much. I just go, oh.
Okay, because I'll talk about the album a bit later because it's on my year-end list, but let's talk about the speculation recently. So Death Grips, they dropped a new video, the first single from Jenny Death called Inanimate Sensation. And with Death Grips, it's so weird because like we study every little move they make. We have to we really have to study everything they do because you look at those, you look for all these little details and all this stuff.
I don't do that.
Well, I don't do that, but other people do it for me on the Death Grips subreddit, and it's great to follow.
I mean, all the ARG hunts that they've made have been ridiculous, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk, because I have the Death Grips government plate, the license plate that actually came with the vinyl release right now.
Yeah, I have it, too. There's like a 1224.
It's 14H 1224, which is a lot of people are speculating that this is the release of Jenny Death at 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve. It will be a Gripsmith's miracle. It'll be great.
I think I want to believe that we're going to get Jenny Death in 2014 still, and I think we have every reason to. They, if they broke up really, and they're still so adamant about, they put out the song.
Death Grips, they've broken a lot of promises when it comes to touring and whatnot, but when it comes to music, they never break a promise. Like they freaking left a major label and got into like a huge dispute with Epic Records because they wanted to get their album out like on the day the time they said, okay, we're gonna bring our second album in fall 2012, and they freaking left their label just to satisfy their fans to give them the music. So they obviously don't break their promises when it comes to music.
I believe we'll see this album before 2015.
Hopefully, when we do the next podcast,
they did say they were releasing it before the end of the year. So
hopefully on the next episode on r/Indieheads, the album will come out and we can discuss it and freak out about it and then cry because it's going to be the last Death Grips album.
I feel like I'm the only person that thinks it's not going to come out on Christmas Eve because I don't feel like they would make it that obvious because that's not.
I don't know about Christmas Eve, but I think we will get it this year.
I agree when you said they don't really break their promises when it comes to music. It's just like I don't know, like I don't think that it's really Death Grips of them to just say print some pretty obvious date onto a license plate and the other thing is I think that they would want everybody to know, and I mean by now everybody knows it, but it was on a limited edition vinyl, so I mean for a while I feel like it would have, if they actually made an announcement, it probably would. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the most Death Grips thing they can do is drop it out of nowhere, no significance to it at all, completely random, kind of like they did with this song. I mean, I remember I came back from, I think I was eating dinner, and I went on Facebook on my phone, and the first post I saw was Death Grips, here's our new song, Inanimate Sensation. And then you load up that video, and it's kind of like what the hell are they going for this time?
The strangest thing, it's like, okay, so you go, I think I was on Reddit, and it's like, Death Grips, I think I was on like r/music for whatever reason, and I was just like, it's like, Death Grips, Inanimate Sensation. I'm like, I start shaking, I'm like, oh my god, new Death Grips, and I listen to the song, and then you start it, and it's like,
oh, I love it so much.
And you're like, what is this?
I can't imagine anyone whose first reaction to that song wasn't like, what the actual fuck is
what the fuck?
Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, I didn't, I was put off at first, a couple listens though. I am so into this song.
After listening to it 30 plus times, I get the song. I've listened to it over at least 35 times already.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about Zach Hill now because, he's the best member of Death Grips, and sounds like that track has live drums, which is pretty nice because I like how they went for a lot of drum, drum machines, programmed drums on government plates and Niggas on the Moon. But I mean, I like the live drums. It was pretty riveting drum.
And Zach Hill is one of the best drummers alive right now, I'd say, because he's such an insane drummer because he drums so fucking fast and he's still able to keep these really interesting rhythms. Like if you listen to Hella, you're it's just insane.
Hella. They're hella good, dude.
Okay.
All right.
But more speculation that because technical problems. It says there's a problem with this call.
Really?
Yeah.
It says that AJ got disconnected. Whatever. He'll come back.
His voice was all funny anyway.
Wait. Is everyone back? Oh no.
No. Yeah. Everyone. No one disconnected.
Only he left.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah.
sorry about this random break in the podcast. I don't think I'll edit this. I may edit this out. But
Okay,
I'm not sure.
raw. It's like some kind of.
We're doing it. Okay,
We're doing it
we
raw.
give it to you raw. Okay, we're like Anthony Fantano. We give it to you raw. Okay. But back to the death group speculation with so there was a Twitter account that people thought was fake, and then they go back after the video and they posted on Twitter this account. They posted like the arena, which was seen in the Inanimate Sensation video, and people were like, "What is this Death Grips?" And then they posted an email from a fan on the official Death Grips email, and the fan went on Reddit on the Death Grips subreddit and said, "Oh yeah, that's my email, by the way, guys." And it's just like, oh my god, this is actually Death Grips. This is actually Death Grips' This is actually their Twitter account, and they said, and then they recently said, "We're going on tour," and that's just like.
It's at for listeners. If you haven't checked out this Twitter account yet, it's at BB Poltergeist. But I don't know. It's spelled Giest. I think that's the correct spelling. But it's just when I've tried to type it in before, I go to some other random account with BB Poltergeist with an E before the I. It's Giest.
Because people thought it was fake because it's like, oh, well, they had a BB, because originally, earlier this year, they had like a BB Poltergeist Twitter. They posted some photos, some weird, like Mrs. Andy Moran or something like that, or Mrs. Stevan Burnett or something like that, and then they deleted the account.
There's a picture of a bed and there's something.
She's riding a body bag.
And there's like an iPod charger, and then there's the arena photo.
I haven't seen them live personally, so if they go on tour, that's
I'm
great.
so sad. I'll be really happy they go on tour.
They didn't show up.
I didn't know about Death Grips until like in between the release of Government Plates and Niggas on the Moon. I didn't know they existed actually because I wasn't really.
I've been listening since the Money Store, but
I've been listening since December 2012 when I think we randomly, because I think I had a friend on a forum I went on who listened to Death Grips, and this kid, like, it was like a weird kid on this forum. He was really into like noise music, and I'm like, because he would go into, you guys remember like Turntable FM?
Oh yeah.
No.
Turntable FM. He would go in there and he'd play like noise music, and it's just like, God, why were you playing this? This is awful.
Was it like Plug DJ? Was it like that?
It was the original Plug G. It was the original Plug DJ.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
So
That's
really
brutal.
So just Ginny Death win is the final thing. The speculation is Ginny Death win, Ginny Death win, Ginny Death win.
Jenny Death soon.
Ginny Death soon. That's what we're hoping.
Maybe.
So
What if it's just
And
like
then
a
if it
Christmas
doesn't-
album?
If it's not this year,
It's a Christmas album.
it's
Yeah.
not-
Actually, wait. Let me find this real quick.
Coming.
I saw this earlier, and it was all of ex-military, all of
It was remixed into Christmas songs?
put over Christmas songs. I have no idea where it is. I didn't save it or anything.
I think it's on Bandcamp somewhere. I think.
It's on. I found it on SoundCloud. But here, let me.
I think someone's making another Christmas album for Death Grips on the Death Grips subreddit.
there have been a lot of great mashups. There was the Love Grip stuff from
There was
last year.
there wasn't there one from the Death Grips subreddit that was like something over a Weezer song.
Oh yeah. Recently, someone posted I think it was Tachyon over the Buddy Holly beat.
And there was some great remixes from Ocarina of Time.
There's
as well.
the one where it's like Hip to Be Square. I'm not sure what song it is.
Hip
which
to
is
be
the
Noited.
which is the best mashup. Because it fits so perfectly. I'll have to find it. It's
It's the YouTube video, Hip to be Noited.
it fits so perfectly, and you're like, why does this fit so well?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Why does this even work?
So really, that's all. Death Grips. I'm gonna, again, if they don't break up, I'll be very happy because Death Grips is my favorite band of all time. The Money Store is my favorite album of all time, and I'm gonna be really sad if they actually do go. But if they don't break up, that's great. That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
So now onto the next segment of what have we been listening to this week, and of course, in order to do this, some of us have used the website tapmusic.net, where you can, of course, you can make like 3x3s, 4x4, 5x5 collages of music you've been listening to over the past week using Last.fm. So let's see, who wants to start out?
I could go.
All right, you want to go, Jeremiah? Or who said that?
I said that, Alex.
Okay, Alex.
Alex.
Yeah, okay, so I've been listening to, the first one I've been listening to a lot, was on my top of my Last FM for the last 7 days, was Arcade Fire Funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty indie head to listen to that. But I was trying to,
What's that album? I've never heard.
well, I don't know, I've never
No,
heard
I don't
of
know. Arcade.
Arcade-
What did you say it was Arcade
Arcade
Water or
Water?
something
Who
like
the
that?
fuck is Arcade Fire?
The Suburbs? Anyway, I was just sitting there listening. I was trying to get this. I was trying to get this tuba part right in this song I was making, and I wanted
a tuba part.
Yeah, I got a tuba
Is that
part.
what all tuba players do in their pastime? Do they
No, I don't actually play the tuba. I just know how to write for it. But anyway, I was putting it down, and I was like, "Damn, this is really hard." I'm trying to get this to go with the drums in it, and I was saying, I'm like, Arcade Fire did that really well. They have so many instruments going on in the background, so I just kept on listening to Tunnels, and then the Indiehead Arcade Fire poll came out, and I saw that was the top one again, so I just kept on listening to it, and I just could not stop.
Let's talk about that again, because In the Backseat was not number one, and I got pretty upset.
I can also talk about
actually, I will admit it. I have never actually listened to Arcade Fire. That's the third thing I'm very ashamed about.
Honestly, the amount of hype that you've heard about them
forever.
so crazy that when you actually listen to them, you might get a little bit turned off because they're not the best band ever. They're pretty good. They're not like they're not like.
Yeah, they're incredibly consistent.
I gotta speak up. Arcade Fire is my favorite band, and I saw them in March, and I cried for pretty much the entire concert. It was...
they're a great band.
I think if you play Funeral for... You can play Funeral for anybody, any age, from anywhere, and I think if they walk away from that album saying this is a bad album, they are just objectively messed up in the head.
I remember
that's my feeling when anyone says they don't like Death Grips.
I remember when I was first getting into indie, I played it for my mom, and she was like, "This sucks," and I was like, "Why, Mom? Why do you say these things?"
Again, you disowned your mom. You moved out of your house, and it's like, "Bye, Mom. I can't stay here anymore."
It was bad. She does like the National though, so that's good.
The National.
My parents don't listen to any music that I listen to.
Right.
I'm from the same town that the National is from, Cincinnati, Ohio. So
nice.
I actually don't know when they come here, so I'm sure it'll be a great concert. They'll probably go to the
I saw them in April. Really
concert.
great.
They come to Toronto all the time, the Nationals. I don't know why, but they've been here 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is it bad? I really want to move to Canada. I kind of sucks because of course I live in the United States, and I hear all these good things about Canada. I'm like, oh. Why wasn't I born in Canada? This seems like a great place, free healthcare, very, still very popular.
It takes a lot off your paycheck though. If you make $10,000, you'll have $9,000.
Oh yeah, that does suck.
You could move to Vermont. That's basically Canada.
Vermont.
I'm pretty sure one of the Dakotas is Canada. I'm not sure which one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
pretty sure United States is Canada, so we're good.
Canada is basically just
there's just one,
just a slightly better. It's just it's
the Upper Peninsula,
slightly colder. That's probably the worst thing.
The melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
So cold.
I mean, if you live in the Midwest, the weather isn't too.
I live in the Midwest.
Yeah, okay, I live in the Midwest too, and it gets pretty hot in the summer.
The Midwest has the most bipolar weather you'll ever see because we get the worst of everything. We get the worst of the summer, we get the worst of the winter, we get the worst of everything.
I mean, Christmas is in 4 days, and we have literally no snow here. I'm almost
it snowed in November this year. It snowed a month earlier.
Yeah,
this year.
I've only had one snow day so far this year, and it was in November, so that was pretty nice.
Legit snow, which was cool, but it's Oh, okay, so Alex, what else have you been listening to this week?
By the way, I was going to say, first time I saw Arcade Fire was in a church in the basement of Montreal, but anyway.
Oh, shit. I would have
after
cried
poster
so hard.
on that. Yeah, they're a great band. Anyway, the next one was after that Jenny Death stuff. I like iPod more than sex. I started listening to Ex-Military again. That opening is just so perfect for Death Grips. So brutal.
Charles Manson.
The Charles Manson sample, and then
that was
all these really great quotables. Let's see, my favorite line from that song is "To pray is to accept defeat," which of course is kind of weird saying that is my favorite line because it sounds like I go on our atheism a lot. And I'm an edgy 14-year-old. But it really is a great line.
No, it's great. That whole song is just fantastic. That whole album is just, Lord of the Games and stuff like that. It's just, they're so catchy and so...
Dude, I love Spread Eagle Across the Block. That's my favorite favorite Death Grip song, actually.
Ex-Military is kind of less experimental, I would say, for the least experimental they've been. It's kind of... the whole album has the
Ex-Military, because from a rapping perspective, it's kind of MC Ride's most traditional rapping. Besides yelling, it's very traditional. The production's is the least. The production is very sort of rock inspired, I'd say.
Yeah,
because I think it was Zach transitioning.
By no means my favorite Death Grips release, but it's a good first record for them.
Mm-hmm. It's a great start. It's a great start to the discography, and you really do get to see to me, Death Grips is my favorite band because you really get to see every album they've made is very is above. I would say. I want to say an 8 out of 10. The only like 8 out of 10 is probably Government Plates, but I still really like that album.
8, and then everything else is above.
Everything else is a 9 out of 10 or above. And I think they have like the most solid discography of like any artist in the past like decade or so, next to like maybe like Kanye West or Bjork. Maybe actually, I would say Bjork, but like
dude, Bjork, yeah.
Okay, so I'll talk about Bjork later on I've been listening to, but so of course.
Brand New's discography is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So anything else you've been listening to, Alex?
Yeah, I was just going to say the last one was Future Island Singles because it won the Pitchfork's Best Song of the Year. I remember listening to it in the summer, and I thought it was like a pretty good song, pretty good radio song, but I wasn't like too into it. I thought like past that the album was kind of like flat. But I tried to give it a couple more tries. I think I've listened to like 4 times this week, and I kind of do like the first opening song. It has like some really nice lyrics, but it's kind of like I think they have the guitar in the background. It's really repetitive. I find I kind of just like I get it, and I move on.
I think I did listen to singles like I want to say a week ago, and I barely remember anything from it. I kind of like passively listened to it.
I'll talk about singles later.
Is that one of your favorites?
It is.
You can convince me why it's so amazing.
Yeah,
I'm open to it.
Okay, so Alex, that's what we've been listening to this week. Let's see. I guess I'll go. The number one album I've been listening to this week is probably I've been on a huge Bjork binge like this past week, so I've been listening to a lot of let's see, the main ones I've been listening to is Homogenic, Post, Volta, and Debut, and especially some songs on Volta. I've been listening like in my car. I got like Volta on CD. I've been listening to Wanderlust, and Wanderlust is like a top 5 Bjork song. It's such a great song, like just the production. It's like Wonder. I'm butchering that song so bad right now. I'm not gonna continue.
Just like that.
See, I do a perfect Bjork impression. Am I pronouncing her name right? Because I feel like I'm pronouncing it.
I don't think so, but I'm not going to try to tell you what.
You know, I think it's actually pretty funny.
It's because I have no idea.
Bjork? Okay, I don't want to.
No, it's not. It's not that.
So if anyone from Iceland,
pretty sure it's Death Grips. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll come forward and say the most Bjork I've ever listened to was Niggas on the Moon.
Go listen to any. Go. Okay, besides Biophilia, which I think is her worst album, just because the problem with Biophilia is that it's just kind of boring. Like it's great in concept because like I think she used like a bunch of like different like ways, like a bunch of new like sort of scientific things for like instruments, but just kind of comes off as just sort of like boring. I guess it's not very exciting compared to like her earlier releases. But yeah, Volta's like I think she has a very solid discography. Like I would say she's very comparable to like Kanye West. I think like certain albums like really like are very similar to one another. Like Debut is like, you know, College Dropout. Post, which is very much an expansion of Debut's sound, is very similar to Late Registration, which is more of an expansion of the sound on College Dropout. And then like Homogenic is like, I would say, would I compare it? It'd be like Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is like Homogenic.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to remember. Volta is like Kanye's Graduation, I'd say. And Medulla, which is my favorite Bjork album, by the way, is like Yeezus, because Medulla is such a great album because like the concept of the album, it's very experimental and it works so well. Like it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, if you've never listened to Bjork before, you should go for Homogenic first because that's probably the most accessible.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the most accessible. I'd say Debut is the most accessible.
Yeah, all 3 of those are pretty accessible, pretty easy to get into.
And then she kind of goes off the walls crazy on like... But her team wasn't really off the ball. Like I mean, she's always been like off the wall crazy since like... But Homogenic is really the one where she goes really off the wall. And Medulla is like her most crazy album just because of the fact that most of the album is like just made up of vocals.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Alright, what else have you been listening to?
Let's see, D'Angelo's album, which I kind of discussed. I really need to digest it, so I can't really say too much about it. And I was going to say something else, but it's on my year-end list, and I'll talk about it a bit more there. I also listened to, let's see, I was listening to Subtract's album, Wonder Where We Land, which I think is a very underrated album. Like, because this year, like, I was seeing it gets like bad ratings, I just don't get it. I think it's a fantastic album. I think it's my favorite Subtract album. I like it more than his debut.
I liked it, but I thought it was okay. But I thought it was a step down from the debut album. But I wouldn't. I mean, like, you know, he got a few good features, and whoever that one guy, not the lead singer of Vampire Weekend, but the other guy that did some guest vocals on that.
Was it Rory? Rory, maybe? No, Roy is the one. Okay, I'm trying. Oh no, Sampa. Sampa. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy totally needs to like do some
Sampa and
stuff
Subtract.
under
They need to make an album together because like you have
yeah,
songs
or do like a completely collaborative album. That would be pretty cool.
because my favorite song I Wonder Where We Land is Gonna Stay, which has like this really great like bass line. It's like din 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 din. And just Sampa's like he's singing so over it and you're like it's so jamming, man. It's jamming. So yeah, I think it's really really underrated because I just don't get it why so many people dislike it so much.
The debut was so good. It was really, really good. It was like probably one of the best electronic albums of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of like really, catchy songs. He was doing everything right that you needed to do to, come out with a good electronic album. So, I mean, but he's going different places, but I think it's good. If you like the first one, you probably still like
it's definitely not
actually no. People they use like it's like, oh wow, his first album's so much better than this one. Like, where'd he go? Because like the thing is, Wonderland, I think it's like a very sort of appropriate title because like he's kind of trying out like all these new sounds and like just seeing like what sticks and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's kind of very appropriate title. I like the album a lot. It's really great. I think, and some people they don't like New York, which I'm sort of like Fantano disliked New York, and I'm like,
I think
what are you? I'm like, what are you talking about? That song is fantastic.
It's so catchy.
It's catchy.
Yeah, it's a great song.
My girl got a minimum. Okay,
Ezra Ganning's been doing a lot of kind of hip hoppy stuff too, which I think.
I mean, yeah, because
really
Ezra. We didn't have it on the news, but like he dropped a song, or I Love Mackinnon dropped a song with him and Despot.
And they had Despot and Danny Brown and
Heems.
Somebody else
did a remix to
Step.
Step.
This remix of Step. Great remix. I was blown away by that. And Step itself is, this layered hip hop sample, so it was just kind of a really cool thing to see.
Mm-hmm. And so, okay, before we go on to the next person, I want to mention I Love Mackinnon. Dude, I hate him so much. I like Tuesday. I think that's a good song, but mainly just because because there was like a Vine a while back where it's just like some kid in like a tracksuit and like basically he looks like a freaking Russian kid. It's just like dancing to the song, and that forced me to like the song.
He's a meme. He's a meme rapper.
He's very much a
top tier meme
like
rapper.
Death Grips.
And he won't be around this time next year, so I don't really think he's worth talking about.
Mm-hmm. So that's really all I've really listened to this week. Let's see who wants to go next.
I'll go.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Thanks,
I don't
dude.
have too much to say.
Okay, the most listened to album this week was In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel, and no, it's not a joke. Okay,
Man, I don't know anyone, and the album's pretty unknown, right? Like, no one really knows about it.
Yeah, it's
pretty unknown.
It's an indie classic. Alright, actually, I slept on this album a lot when I first figured out about it, because I thought it was kind of boring, but then I listened to it again, and I thought it was pretty good.
Boring? That's kind of a weird first impression, is boring, because
I just thought that, it kind of, like, in comparison with the other stuff that I was listening to at the time, like I was listening to a lot of electronic and a lot of like that was probably like Radiohead was my favorite band or something, but like then it was kind of different, and I was like, this is okay, I guess. But I just listened to it again a few days ago, and I thought, it's pretty good. I think a few standout tracks. Oh, I also probably started listening to it again because Stephen Colbert played Hall in 1945.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give it another shot. A few standout tracks. The same title track is pretty good, I think.
I think "Oh Comely" is probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, that's really good too. And,
I think there was like a solid week where I just listened to that song because I was kind of going through depression at the time.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
The
I know
final
it's not
track,
an original opinion.
Two-Headed Boy Part 2 is pretty solid.
Sorry again, I want to say this about "Oh Comely." I like the part like at the end where like the guy yells like you hear him in the background going "Holy shit." Because apparently he did it in like one take, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a nice clip.
And Ghost is a pretty good song too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, I can totally get the appeal, but I mean, it's not like I think it's a little bit overrated. I mean, I think.
Considering that
it's a little bit overrated because it's like, people saying it's the best album ever and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, second most listened to album was the D'Angelo album.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really good. It's on my top 10 albums. I had to rearrange everything. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. But I mean, I think that it just clicked with me at first, and I really could get the appeal, and I thought that it was solid.
Mhm.
And I really like how, he kind of dropped it out of the blue, too. That's pretty nice. Now, the last album I listened to the most was Lesson Majesty by Shabazz Palaces.
Mhm.
And I kind of slept on that album at first because, I don't know why. I thought it was a little bit kind of gimmicky how, they're doing this, like, weird reverb-heavy, like, I don't know, weird, like... I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit weird at first, but I listened to it again, and I really like their style. They have really smooth verses,
I need to go back and listen to that album because I Black Up. I think Black Up's a really good album. Like Black Up is, I downloaded Lesson Majesty. I think I listened to it like once, and I sort of forgot to go back to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the first one, and it seems to be kind of a love it or hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's
like 19 tracks or something like that.
Yeah, it's long, but it's like separated into suites, I guess. Like there's 7 different like parts. But there are a few pretty good tracks on there. I really like, Hashtag Cake. It's a pretty great song. I like Motion Sickness, and I also like the first 3 tracks is a really nice run. I really like that. They all go into each other pretty well. And yeah, I liked it a lot better the second time I listened to it. So, all right, that's it.
So I guess on to AJ. What have you been listening to this week?
Well, I've been kind of spite listening to 2014 Hills Forest Drive a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of J. Cole, and people have been talking this up like it's straight fire. It's the realest hip hop release of the year, and I just can't get into it. I just find him kind of boring. Doesn't bring anything to the table. I think the production on this.
I think I kind of talked about everything in my rant about J. Cole. Earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, we've spoken about J. Cole.
I'd hate to just blindly talk shit about it because I don't like him as an artist, but so I've been going through it again, and there's just not that much that I like on it.
I mean, say what you will about J. Cole, but he's like so popular for his
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
He has so many.
Like I said earlier, he fits.
It's because he's good to his fan base.
His fans. Like I said earlier, he's this like perfect embodiment of like what people
he's like
want in a rapper.
Good guy. Yeah.
He plays into this whole kind of like introspective rapper.
But what I do like, at least I like what J. Cole represents because like he sort of just announced the album 3 weeks early, like 3 weeks before it came out. No singles, just like by the way, guys, I have an album coming out.
No features.
No features, and like
I don't like that either. I don't like the no features. I
don't like that either. I don't think that's a good quality.
I don't like that about a lot of like whenever a hip hop album comes out and it's like no features at all, I kind of get turned off by it.
Like they act like it's a good thing. It's like, oh, by the way, guys, no features. It's like, don't act like that's a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. That's
if you're not interesting enough to carry 10 or 12 songs by yourself, like J. Cole, it's going to be disappointing.
And what I do like is that the album, it sold like 350K first week, which is insane, by the way. Well, that's a pretty, and I think it's going to sell like close to 200K second week, which is also
mind-boggling. I don't get it. Like, why this album? Why not Run the Jewels? Why not?
Because J. Cole's on a major label. That's why. Larger fan base.
Base.
He's on a major label. I mean, yeah. But let's see. What was I gonna say about J. Cole? Like, I think did you guys hear about what happened with Nicki Minaj? Like I don't know if you guys go on KTT or not, but I think a guy who works at Universal was talking about how the album it flopped. Like it had 5 singles and it only sold 155K first week and it flopped. It's like, oh, you have to release 2 reissues of it. And it's just interesting to see, she had, all this hype for, 5 singles, tons of, months of, hyping it up. And J. Cole's like, hey, I'm gonna drop an album, and it sells, 350K first week with barely, a month after it was announced and no singles whatsoever. That's pretty insane.
I think again, it's the loyalty to J. Cole. I will follow J. Cole off a cliff because... that was an exaggeration. But, he's really, really good to his fans. Everything he did with Ferguson, no one, except for maybe, no one else did what he did with, actually, no, Q-Tip did a lot. Mm-hmm. But with Ferguson, where he was, at every protest, doing all this shit, and he was just, I don't know, it's good. I like J. Cole.
Killer Mike did some stuff, too.
Yeah, Killer Mike was he was on CNN, he had the speech at St. Louis when he was playing the show, which is kind of a very good, very weird timing that they played the show during when the decision was made, the day of. Mm-hmm. I couldn't go to the concert because of that goddamn decision.
I saw him the day after.
Mm-hmm.
I had the chance to see them at the 930 Club earlier this year, and I was like, no, I don't really need to. And I regretted that decision instantly.
Danny Brown
After-
was actually at the show in Detroit. He was playing a show the next night, and he came on stage to introduce Run the Jewels, which was pretty cool. But everyone was like chanting for him to come out and do a song or something.
Okay.
Okay.
I've actually never been to a hip hop show before in my life.
I went to a Mac Miller I went to like a Mac Miller show back in like last year in July. He had like it was him, Earl Sweatshirt, Vince Staples, The Internet, and Chance the Rapper, it was a great show, by the way.
That sounds really good, actually.
That
It
sounds
was a
like
great
a
show,
lineup,
but like
yeah.
I have a cool story because like I remember I went to the podcast. I went to the concert. I went to the concert, and and I missed Vince Staples' set, and at the time I didn't really care for Vince Staples, and I still don't care for Vince Staples. I haven't listened to his new EP, which is apparently really good.
So
I love
good.
that, dude. It's
So
great.
much better than 20. Oh, that's so good. So good.
So
You need to stop comparing every hip hop project from this year to J. Cole, please.
That's what
So-
people are doing, so I'll do it too.
I missed his set. I was really sad because at the time I was a big fan of The Internet. Like I really love Purple Naked Ladies. I think it's a pretty underrated album. And I missed like some of their set, and I was really sad about that because the line was like really large. And I bought a shirt. I bought their Feel Good shirt, but also, which was too small on me. I bought a small instead of a medium, and I was like, oh, I can't wear this shirt. It's too small on me. And I was sad. But I think it was Chance after that, and Chance's set was really good. Like because like earlier when Acid Rap came out, I didn't really like it that much, and I went back to listen to it again. I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. This is really great. Why was I sleeping on this?
And now I don't like it.
And then Earl played, and Earl was, because I heard mixed things about Earl live, but he was actually really good live. I thought he was great. He played some songs, and like, the thing that's so weird about Earl, I think I'll talk about Doris another time on this podcast, because I don't want to go on a huge rant about it, because I really don't like that album. But like, he played Molasses, and Molasses like live was like crazy. Like, it was really hyped up, and on the album it's like really boring. It's just like, he's like 99 problems all gone in that one.
Yeah, that can happen to a lot of songs.
And then
Tyler the Creator, I've seen videos of his live shows, and from Wolf, the IFHY song.
Mhm.
It's a pretty mellow song. I mean, it's the bass and like the drums, they're pretty heavy on the song, like, but it's a pretty laid back kind of sad song. But live, like they just go crazy. Like
I mean, because it's a very emotional song, I would say.
Yeah.
I appreciate when they kind of change it up live.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
So
in the hip-hop.
so AJ, what else have you been listening to?
The second most thing I've been listening to probably this week is Mark Kozlek sings Christmas carols. It's hysterical. It's completely hysterical. I heard about this kind of, whatever you want to call it, album project thing back in like November, and I said I'm not going to listen to this until the week before Christmas. I think it dropped the 16th of November or something like that.
Mhm.
And it's,
Yeah, that's pretty early.
it's pretty much exactly what you would imagine Mark Kozlek singing Christmas songs sound like. I was laughing the entire time pretty much. It's sublime. It's a sublime listen because it's this kind of melancholy, depressing middle-aged man going over pretty much, every big Christmas song. It's hysterical, and I'd recommend it to anyone in this joyous holiday season, no matter what your denomination.
It's the perfect Christmas album for indie heads all across the world.
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
also the Sun Kill Moon Christmas album that came out this year.
There's another. Wait, he had two?
No, he had one. It came out
Okay.
this like November. I was listening.
That's
to
the one.
it.
That's the one we're talking about.
That's
Oh
that's
my
Mark.
god! I am like, I'm like over here. Well, you can't
man,
even see
Mark.
that visually. Wow, I'm really messing up right now.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, man. So it's a hilarious Christmas album. Let's see. I guess one more before we get into our.
Yeah,
Actually, no. I think Jeremiah
I've-
still has to talk.
yeah. You guys get to hear
Well,
my
he only
club
went over
level.
2 albums.
Yeah, the third thing
Oh.
I guess I've been playing a lot is I've been kind of digging into the samples off of Avalanche's Since I Left You. I have gained a lot of respect for this album recently. I've seen it brought up in a lot of, greatest of all time lists, and I got blown away by this thing recently, and someone made these YouTube videos compiling all the, sources and samples for some of the songs, and it's ridiculous how much work went into this thing, and I'm really, really hoping they drop their follow-up next year, or soon.
Sick.
It's been like
I love
14
Avalanche
years.
album.
Hope again.
14 years.
I mean,
yeah.
if D'Angelo
Yeah.
can drop his album 14 years after his first one, I think Avalanches can do the same.
There's a
Yeah.
live. They recently did like a 15th anniversary kind of. They played through the entire album live in Australia, and the Frontier Psychiatrist video is up on YouTube, and it's insane.
Mhm.
Yeah, their music videos are pretty good too. There's a video for the same title track and Frontier Psychiatrist, and they're both pretty cool.
Yeah, they're great.
Good music videos, but all right.
Bring it on. So did you say your album's yet, Jeremiah?
I did not.
Okay, I guess we'll go to you now.
I'll probably make this fast. So, as you can tell, I'm a pleb when it comes to this, clearly. But
can't even say it right. That's how you know you're a plebe.
You're plebeian.
So, I've been listening to Hummingbird by the Local Natives a lot lately. Like, it's a really good cold weather album. That's actually, like, one of my favorite albums.
Wait, what was the album again?
Hummingbird. It came out last year, and it was like... It got really slept on, it felt like. It felt like it was really underrated.
Mm-hmm. It's a great kind of like just mellow album, yeah.
It's so beautiful. Like, it's so like, I think his mom died, the singer's mom died, like, 3 months, or no, I don't know. His mom died, and then it hit him really hard, and they ended up writing an album about it, and also the bassist left or something. And it's just like, there's a lot of, the music is very airy, I'd say. Like, there's not a lot of, like, it feels up in the air. It feels like there's not a lot under it, but that almost like gives it more of a. It's so hard to describe, but it's like it almost gives it more substance. That there's less in it, and it's beautiful. I don't know.
Sort of like are you trying to say it's like minimalistic?
Yeah. I'm not good at talking, but
it's like you're on a podcast.
Breakers. All right. Anyways, so you guys like Local Natives? I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of them, so.
Yeah, I've never heard of
them. Oh, really?
Something new, though.
Actually, I've heard of them. I've just never listened to them.
You guys should check them out. They're, like, my favorite. Not actually. Anyways. And I've also listening to Alligator by The National a lot lately. Which is...
I've never listened to that. I feel like Mike's really slacking when it comes to music sometimes, because, like, I don't listen to, like... Because I hear, like, National I've never listened to.
Oh, they're so good.
The National are great, but
wait, are you Killer Trap?
In that mind,
I am. Yes, I am.
Jeremiah's Killer Trap.
He just wrote that. That thing about the National. That was like the boxer.
I'm much better at writing things than I am at saying things. But
yeah, hey, I should tell you guys about what happened to me. So like a month ago, I was binging on the microphones and Mount Erie, and I was like, wow, I should totally write like this humongous essay about how great this guy is. So I stayed up really late. I was and my laptop is like, it's like the touchpad is like it doesn't have buttons. It's like, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a pretty small laptop too. So like if you're typing, like the part of your hand, like where like the bottom part of your hand can rub onto the touchpad sometimes. So I literally was finished, and I was just reading over again. I highlighted the entire thing, and I like pressed A or something, and so it all disappeared. And I just kind of
couldn't undo it either.
No, it was in Reddit editor, which was partially my fault. So I was typing it in Reddit, and I was like,
"Dude, I'm so sorry."
Yeah,
hopefully you'll get to rewrite it one day.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably soon.
You should probably and that's why you should do that stuff in like Google Docs.
Yeah,
Google Docs, it'll save lives.
I think the issue was I didn't know how like if I could copy paste something from like Google Docs into.
You probably could.
Yeah, if that would work.
It gets a little messed up though. Reddit has like a weird editing system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through all the different formatting, so I was like, okay, whatever.
You really would just... I think the main thing would probably just be like, you just have to like add in the paragraphs. Is like really the only thing you'd have to do is just fix the paragraphs. If it's like an essay and it's not like bullet points or whatnot. Bullet points, you have to do that yourself.
It was pretty crazy. Like you need to see it. It was a work of art, but it got deleted, replaced with A. So whatever. Anyways, we were talking about something else, right?
Yeah, Alligator.
Yeah, you're talking about Alligator.
Oh, right, Alligator.
I never listened to
The National are one of my favorite bands, and I would have to say Alligator, I think, is my favorite album off theirs.
I don't listen to them that much, but I think my favorite album from them I've listened to is High Violet. I like that album the best.
Like the only connection I have to the National is that there's a guy on YouTube. Like he was because back in the day I was really into like YouTube game commenters, like Call of Duty game commenters or whatever. Like, I was really into that at the time. I used to do it myself, but I've deleted those videos since then because they're embarrassing. But one of the guys I used to watch was a guy named Obviously Jesus, and, like, he was a big fan of The National. So that's really my only connection to...
I would say Alligator's not the album you start with, but once you've gone through their other stuff and you're into them, it's...
What would you say is the best one to start with? Is Boxer the one you like?
I'd say Trouble Will Find Me, actually. I think that's the one to start with.
I have a confession to make here. I've seen this group, but, like, I only like their first song, Fake Empire. I don't know why. I just can't get into their stuff.
Have you listened to Mr. November?
I've listened to everything.
Oh, Mr. November, Abel
is.
I've listened to every single thing they've ever released. I've tried to like them a lot.
I mean, they're very somber. You kind of have to be.
I thought I would like them because I like Arcade Fire and they seemed really similar, but I just couldn't get into it.
They're one of those bands that has to click. Like, once they click, they become the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, well, that one song is pretty good. So.
All right, so I guess Jeremiah, one more out before we go into our year-end list.
I'm listening to Wild Cub's Youth, their debut, Youth. Do you guys know Wild Cub?
I've never heard of them.
They had that one song, Thunderclatter, that was on alternative radio. Right, and they're like a...
Yeah, describe them to me.
They're like an indie pop, like kind of indie pop rock band, you know, like the standard situation with that. But
play
they got
music,
some, like, 80s influence. Yeah, you know, it's just normal indie pop rock music. But their album is something really, really special. It's called Youth. It's very, very aptly named. It's like it captures the teenage like essence better than anything I've ever heard in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm a senior in high school. And I'm really angsty and stuff. And so it's like oh my god, this album is me. It's so cool. So that's a good album. I recommend it. I'm not really good at talking again, but
it's pretty good.
You should check them out.
The best album, like it's like, oh my god, this album is me. I think the best one of that is probably let's see, actually maybe no. I was gonna say that originally, but I think the best one I think it's not an album, it's a song. It's "Pregnant Pussy" by UGK. Like that just describes me. Okay, that's me. Okay, that was a horrible joke, and I apologize to any of our listeners. I made that joke up on the fly, and I was like, I don't know. I was like trying to find a joke. I apologize.
It makes it raw.
We're doing it raw.
Yeah, there's a song by 2 Chainz.
New York State of Mind.
Shout out to my stove.
It's like my anthem.
My stove. What up, stove? I'm like, oh my god, that's me, right there.
Okay, so list. Since it's list season, we obviously should. We're all going to talk about our top 3 of the year. We don't want to do like our top 10s because this would take way too long. We're kind of just like, okay, 3 is like, okay, here we can condense everything down. So I guess I'll start off with the order that we have on our schedule. I'll start off with my number 3 album of the year is FKA Twigs LP1. This is a fantastic album. I think it's a great album. I think FKA Twigs is a really great talent. She's a fantastic singer. She's a great producer. I would say like she's very much like, not in sound, but like sort of in like spirit. She's like the next Bjork, or Bjork was very much involved in like the creative process of her albums and whatnot. And like I get those vibes from FKA Twigs, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought this album was pretty good.
Yeah, good album.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Was I the only one who really, really hated the cover?
I like the cover. I think the cover's really...
I
like the cover because
cover.
it's very like... If you're freaked out by the cover, like if it evokes like a really strong emotion, it did its job.
I don't know, man. I was really
the only thing I could see was that tooth gap, though.
A tooth gap, and then like the album, like the in art on the album, like where it's like the like Jesse, I think Jesse Kanda is the one who does the art for her, and like Arca, and like it's all deformed and whatnot. It's like really like disturbing.
I have a beef with the album art. I bought that on CD the day it came out because I was wanting to support this new artist, and the art, like the artwork's there, like the not the front cover, but like the inner artwork, but it's in the sleeves of the CD, so you can't see it when you buy the CD. It's like, and then when you fold the CD up, it's like it's gatefold, but it's just blue. It's like, why didn't you put it there? And it pissed me off because I basically had to bend my CD. It's like a CD cover thing to even see it in because it's just like a little paper thing. And it really pissed me off. I was like, man, I should have bought the vinyl or something.
I did actually buy the vinyl for my girlfriend because that's how we met. Is like because I found out she liked FKA Twigs and I was like, oh, because a friend introduced me to her. But so yeah, I think it's a great album. I really like it. It's great. It's like, let's see, how would I describe it to people? It's sort of because she doesn't like being called R&B. She doesn't like being called pop. It's very much like it's trip hop, R&B, pop, experimental, just sort of like chamber pop maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very dark.
It sounds like
very
sex.
Dark pop.
It's
very dark R&B pop, sort of like in the vein of like Frank Ocean or The Weeknd, but a bit more like experimental, I would say. So then my number 2 is Death Grips, Niggas on the Moon. I really, really love it. I mean, Death Grips is my favorite band, and I really love this album, and like Also, I would say it's kind of underrated also because like critics also weren't really too hot on. Like Pitchfork only gave it like a 6.7, I think, and like they complained about the album being too repetitive or something along the lines of like, oh, it sounds too much like old Death Grips releases, and that is like acting like that's not really a bad thing in my opinion. I think
old Death Grips. I would say absolutely not. It's
I don't think it sounds like old Death
I
Grips
wouldn't
at all.
It's very much a new sound of the band because like okay, so I think production wise it's the best Death Grips album because it's so dense. Okay, I'm not okay. I know it's just so dense. There's so much going on that if you guys watch other media, you maybe get my reference. But like the production,
Lucas there.
George Lucas, my inner George Lucas came out with the laser swords and whatnot.
The Bjork samples are the lightsabers of Death Grips.
But yeah, the production, it's so dense and so layered. Like, you really study the production. Like, there's so much going on, but it all comes together so well. Like, it's not cluttered, but it's all over the place, but, like, it works so well. Like, I imagine, like, Zach and Andy took so much time on the production, like, trying to figure out, like, all the little, like, bleeps and bloops of whatnot, and, like, just getting all the Bjork samples to work. Did they do the Bjork samples? Did they do it sort of, like, I imagine, did Zach do that stuff? Like, I think, like, maybe he had, like, a drum machine, he would play
Bjork's voice is used like an instrument.
Yeah, it's used like an instrument, basically. And it works really, really well. And it sounds fantastic.
Another thing about this album I really like is the lyrics are probably like the most esoteric Death Grips lyrics have been.
Oh yeah, I think it's the most
especially on Up My Sleeves. Some of like the just metaphors and stuff he's throwing out are what?
And like the one thing I do really like about it's probably like the first some of the first Death Grips lyrics that are actually like somewhat relatable. Because he and then Up My Sleeves,
he gets personal on.
He gets very personal. He talks about like his mother dying, and it's like, oh my god, that's probably the most personal MC Wright has ever gotten on the album. And then
I didn't even know he had a mom at first, actually.
Yeah, didn't know he was human. One thing about this album, why people might have been so hesitant about putting it on their lists or rating it high, is because
it's one half of a double album.
Yeah. When the
Powers of the needle drop didn't.
The thing is, it's a double album. It's 2 albums, so I don't see why people were like, oh, should I put it on there? It's 2 albums, okay?
I put it on my top 25 as disc 1, but I did enjoy it a lot.
And I imagine that Jenny Death will also be included with that. It'll stay my number 2 or possibly my number 1 if Jenny Death is like really really good. But I think it's a really fantastic album. And I was gonna say another thing that like, Say Hey Kid is a song. It's about peer pressure, and it's like, okay, what the hell? This is a little too... MC Wright's getting a little personal here. And then, like, on Big Dipper is, like, just a giant metaphor for, like, Death Grip's career. It's like, I'm a bullshitter, I'm a shitty stripper, shitty rapper, people were saying. I'm a... Let's see, what other metaphors he use? I think it's another metaphor about, Fucking downer, silhouette lifter, binge... no. Something about being thin or whatever.
Yeah.
Or binge thinner.
Binge thinner.
It's like, oh my god, this is a little too personal for Death Grips. This is the most personal I've ever gotten on the album. Like, because he talks about stuff like, it's like, because usually whenever, like, for the most part, like, on, like, in their lyrics, a lot of their stuff is just sort of like, it's not really relatable. It's more of like fantasy and whatnot, just sort of like off the walls and nothing like really,
I don't know,
entirely relatable, I guess.
It's kind of like sometimes it feels like the schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really weird.
I think, okay, so, and then also I was going to mention the production again, like, with most Death Grips, there's not really that many beat switch-ups in the songs, like, there's rarely any beat switch-ups. Usually the beats are already insane, but they don't really switch up that much. But, like, on this album, the beat switch-ups are insane. Like, 1 second, like, it's this beat, and then, like, it switches, like, all of a sudden, like, bam, it's another beat, and, like, MC Wright has to change up his flows. And that's what I found the most impressive.
Too. The whole album is cohesive.
It's very cohesive.
It's one big song.
And, like, this is... Like, I want to say it's my second favorite Death Grips album, probably. It's my second favorite, easily. Just because it's probably some of the best rapping MC Wright has done since The Money Store. It's the best production they've ever had on the album. And I think the only bad song on the album is probably Have a Sad Come.
Oh my god.
I don't like that song. To me, it sounds like a really bad Government Plates B-side. It's like a song that like they were working on Government Plates, but didn't quite make it, and then they reworked it for this album, and it's too long. It's really annoying after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you listen to the album like crazy, like I did, like I just started skipping it just because like it got really annoying to me.
Yeah.
As it goes on for way too long, which I guess sort of describes having a sad come. It's a good metaphor, I guess. Goes on too long.
Did you just come up with that or not?
No, I think I did just come up with that.
That's incredible.
I think it's a good metaphor. Goes on way too long, like a sad cum.
Speaking of going on way too long, you're number one.
My number one. But
That was a joke about the album, not you.
Okay, my number one is Swans' To Be Kind.
Mhm.
I will admit it, I discovered this album through Fantano. He gave it a 10, and I was like, because the thing is, the last album he gave a 10, which was The Money Store, is my favorite of all time. Like, okay, if he gave this a 10, it's gotta be worth listening to. And I usually don't like long albums. I really hate long albums, but this album, it's incredible. It's so, okay, let's see. The songs go on really long, and like, this is an album that warrants its length. Like, it is long, and it has reason to be as long as it is, because it's really like a fucking like journey listening to this album. Like, going through like all the songs, like the post-rock inspired like instrumentation is really great. Like, having like these like this product, like the beats build up and then sort of like fall apart and then build something new from that. It's seriously such an insane, like, and the lyrics are like really crazy, and Michael Gira is just an amazing vocalist. He produces like such like strong emotions in his vocals.
He's like 60 years old or something.
Yeah, he's 60.
Yeah,
He's 60. He's making some like the most important music. You know, Swans.
If you get the chance to see him live,
They came by St.
emotion
Louis, and I'm really
he puts
sad I
into
didn't get
his
to see them.
I can't
really
go to see them because their show is 18 plus.
Yeah, I get to see them here. It's like
Hopefully,
February.
if they do tour again for their next album, which I imagine they'll have a new album coming out in like 2016, since like they have had an album like every 2 years. Like 2010 was My Father Will God,
guide me up a rope to the sky.
Yeah, and then the Seer came out in 2012. And it's like they two back-to-back like 2-hour long albums, which is like pretty crazy. And I do have the album on vinyl and on CD, and it's like a triple LP, which
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's a great album. I would
cover
say
too. Great cover.
great cover, very strong. Just
The Seer is better.
I disagree.
I also think the Seer's better.
I disagree.
Actually, I don't think I was talking about. I think I was talking about the album art, not the.
Oh, okay. If you're talking about the album,
album.
yeah, the Seer is better.
Yeah, I like the
but
album.
you're talking
No,
about
no,
you're talking
I
about the
like-
album.
I like the Seer.
The Seer's not a bad album, but I think it's
music
like
more.
the Seer. I think like there's certain songs that just don't work for me on that
Seer
album.
has kind of a fantasy vibe to it. I listen to it and I kind of get like a very high fantasy kind of vibe from it. Maybe it's the wolf on the cover and songs like The Warrior and The Daughter Brings the Water, but I love that.
I just don't think the Seer is as cohesive as To Be Kind. Like To Be Kind is very like cohesive, very sort of like within the same tone. While I think the Seer kind of like went a little off tone at times. Like it just sort of like was a little bit all over the place at times for me. But To Be Kind was very condensed, very like cohesive, and like the tone was very consistent throughout the album, while the sounds that the album had were also somewhat different. And I want to discuss this real quick, and I said earlier in the podcast that The Money Store is my favorite album of all time, because I think the album is what you should strive to do when you're making an album. Every song on The Money Store sounds different from one another, but at the same time they all have like this consistent tone, and that's what you should strive to do when you're making an album, is that you need to have every song needs to sound different, but it all needs to come together within the same tone, which is very difficult to do, I would say. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few albums achieve that. Yeah.
Very albums achieve that, and I think, this album, To Be Kind, and Money Store really do that very well. And so, Swans To Be Kind, that is my album of the year. It's, go listen to it if you have the time, which is 2 hours, so you better sit down, or take some time out of your day to
Just
do
listen
that.
to it over the podcast.
Listen to it over the podcast.
It's actually really nice to listen to while taking a walk.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie.
Or a drive.
Or a drive.
Having this
I
album on CD
haven't
is
taken
great.
a long drive with it yet.
Yes.
Because I remember a Vine that the Anthony Fantano made whenever like it was a comments like it's like review To Be Kind, review To Be Kind. He's like, I'm listening to it now.
Yeah, I listened to this album on the way. I drove to Chicago, which was about 4 hours, and I just put this album on. Got me like halfway there. It was that was an experience. My ears were ringing by the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so who wants to go next?
I'm
Who's
next on the list. So,
sorry.
all right.
Nicholas.
Number 3 for me. Kind of underrated album, but Bad Bad Not Good's 3 is my number 3 album. I sort of fanboy this band really hard because I listen to them a ton, and I think they're really, really good. They're a bunch of really young guys making a bunch of crazy good music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, so their first 2 albums, they they kind of jammed a lot. You know, they had a lot of crazy solos with their keyboardist, and their drummer was pretty good. Their first album had a lot of covers on it. There were some covers from Nas.
The first two albums had a lot of covers. Like I think they had a cover. The thing is, I found out about Bad Bad Not Good back when they wrote the Bad Bad Not Good 2 because they were very like closely tied to Odd Futures. I think there's a video with Tyler, and of course the first song on 2 is a cover of Earl.
They produced a song on Doris too.
They produced a song on Doris. I think they also produced a song on like Danny Brown's Old, which is also a very good song.
Yeah, I love the jazz sound on this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only listened to it once. I really need to get to because I didn't have enough time before we recorded the podcast to give it a listen. Because I did listen to it once. I need to give it more listens because I enjoyed the listen. It's very very good album. I probably if I wanted to study or do homework, it'd be a good album to listen to.
Yeah, I mean they've covered tons of stuff though. They've covered like they covered songs from the Ocarina of Time on their first album. They have a medley track with a bunch of really great songs. That's actually my favorite song by them because they just go hard on Saria's song. Like their keyboard is going off. It's really good. Mm-hmm. Then their second album, they covered My Bloody Valentine on the last album.
I think also I think there's 2 James Blake covers, right?
Yeah. They
CMYK and What's Your Love.
CMYK, yeah. And then they also covered Bastard by Tyler, the Creator.
And Lemonade.
And they also, so... Alright, and then, the third album, but the thing for me that was really cool about this was that the entire thing is original material. Like, there's no covers at all. They took some time to really go and write some stuff up and think about what they could do for themselves, and they really came back, running. There were some really great tracks on here. They're doing a lot more stuff together. Like, there's not, like on the first 2 albums, they might take a break in a song, to let their keyboardist do a crazy solo or something, but they're doing really well as a unit now, and I think that's really good. They have their saxophonist that they work with a lot, Leland Whitty, is on the track on here, which is pretty good. The entire album is really good. I mean, I kind of fanboy this album, which is why I have it on here, but I think that they're really talented, and I'm super hyped for their album next year with Ghostface Killah in 2015, and yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Right, did anyone just... Okay, sorry, technical error real quick. I think we lost some people.
Yeah, it's just one guy.
Who do we lose? AJ. Okay, so...
AJ disconnected.
Oh, AJ's gone again. Okay. I think he'll be back. But, so... No, he's gone. Okay, hold on a second. Keep going while I try to figure out this... sorry about the technical issues, guys.
Alright, my second one, it's not the same as I wrote down, but I'm going to change it now. My second album of the year is Always, same title album. A lot of people probably think it was kind of like, mediocre, indie rock kind of stuff, but I'm kind of a sucker for this kind of music with a, female front vocalist and, kind of dream pop-ish type stuff, kind of like Beach House, stuff like that. And I just really dug this album. I think that there's a bunch of really great songs. The first, 4 or 5 stretch, the first half of the album is really good. Archie Marry Me is in my top 5 songs of the year, and yeah, I think the whole entire thing is really good.
I actually did listen to this album Always because I think a friend recommended it to me. I actually really enjoyed it, but I think I only have it as an honorable mention on my top 10 list of the year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think it's not really it's not an amazing album, and
it's very good.
Yeah, I think it's good. They're not really going too far from what a lot of other artists are doing these days, but I don't think that's a reason to give it a bad review at all. I think it's really good. And then my top album of the year, my number 1 is Plowing Into the Field of Love by Ice Age. I dug on these guys, their first 2 albums, You're Nothing and why can't I remember the first name? New Brigade. Mm-hmm. The first 2 albums were pretty heavy, noise punk rock music. They went for pretty short songs. On their first album, the longest song is 3 minutes and 8 seconds long. So it's not like they weren't doing anything amazingly crazy, but mm-hmm. they really did some awesome stuff on this new album. They have a lot of they do a lot of variation in their styles. The Lord's Favorite is kind of like a country, I guess, if you would. That's kind of a weird way of putting it, but it's really different from what they've done before, and all the songs are really good. It's there's nothing really weak on here. The final track, Plowing Into the Field of Love, same title, is really great closer. On my On My Fingers and Plowing Into the Field of Love, they're two really great intro and outro songs.
Because part of the podcast, I did listen to this album, and I already listened to it before, and I kind of because I recommend it to my friends. I knew my friend because he really likes. I think people say it's very similar to like Joy Division, I guess. It's like post-punk.
Yeah, and also somebody like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds vibe from a lot of these songs.
Also, I kind of get a King Cruel vibe also, because like with the accents and whatnot, it's like, the singer has a very strong accent. It's like,
yeah.
Where are they from? I think I heard
Iceland.
Iceland. Very strong accent. They're similar to like Joy Division. It was like King Cruel and Joy Division is what, and my friend really enjoys Joy Division and King Cruel, so I recommended it to him.
Oh wait, no, they're from Denmark, not
Oh,
Iceland.
Denmark. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, because I was like, because I heard somebody say it was like Danish or whatever.
Yeah, the accent is pretty obvious on a lot of songs, but I mean that doesn't really bothers me that much. I mean
accents can be, because sometimes it can be really detrimental, and other times it can be really good. Because like, there's certain artists that's like, okay, that accent is really like bad. Like, it sounds.
Cough 1975. Cough.
Cough, Iggy Azalea, cough.
Arctic Monkeys' new album, I thought it was pretty obvious on a few songs. Like, Do I Want to Know? He actually sounds pretty British. I mean, on a few non-single songs too, like I Want to Be Yours, Number One Party.
So Bjork has a very strong accent. Very strong.
Yeah, he sounds pretty British on the.
I mean, he's always sounded British.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot more
obvious. He's fucking British, duh.
But yeah, I mean, I just love the direction that Ice Age is going with their new stuff. They're, I mean, it's not like experimental at all, like that's one, but they're experimenting with a lot of different stuff and finding what works for them, and that's really a good thing in my opinion. I'm really happy to see what they will come out with next and what styles they go for. Yeah, that's my top three.
Okay, up next we have Alex. What is your top 3 of the year?
All right, so number 3 is Run the Jewels 2, which we've talked quite a bit about already.
I think we discussed it a little bit, not
but we mentioned it here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked.
But basically, this album was, I don't know, it came out with a bang. What was the first single from this?
The first single was Blockbuster Night Part 1, and it was like, oh god, this is a banger. This is a fucking banger. And then they dropped then they dropped Oh My Darling Don't Cry, which I saw a lot of similarities in this song with like the new Death Grips album. Like the Darling sample sounds very much like how like the Bjork sample was on.
I read people saying that they thought this album was inspired a lot by Death Grips, particularly the Money Store. And the first listen, I didn't really get that, but now I'm kind of seeing it. Sort of the production is really kind of glitchy in some places, and I really dig that.
So keep going, Alex. You were saying something else.
Anyway, yeah. So it came out with a bang, like just like a hit, and I thought it was really interesting. Like their first one was good. It was really.
It was a nice little self-contained little. It was a self-contained little project. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Small.
It was pretty good. It was like a fun listen, but it's like okay. It was a fun listen, little at times, but like overall very fun listen. I think A Christmas Fucking Miracle is a really great song, and I love the video for it. I love that fucking video where like they're doing like the old timey photos and like see those stupid fucking like the little face over like the Wolf album cover. It's like just like that.
Yeah, that picture, man, that's pretty great.
But I really liked Early, though. That song was really good. I liked like how it was, he's smoking the kush and he gets arrested. I thought that was really deep, and the way it was presented. Like,
I do like how... Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry for you. But I like how that song ties to Killer Mike's verse, where, like, it's, like, at the end of the song, it ties back. It was, like, it's like, let's see, some long, I think it's, again, ties it back to, like, Killer Mike is talking about, how he is just, smoking and chilling. He's with his family. Cops come up to him, are messing with him, trying to arrest him. And is it implied that his wife gets shot or something like that, or is it just
his wife is like
hold a gun on him,
and they hold a gun on her?
Yeah, they like
he's very
bring
upset
his
about
wife
that.
down. They just like
there's some great social commentary lyrics.
Very.
Yeah.
LP has one makes me like sit back every time. The one about politicians being like rapists or something.
It's like
there's one where
I think it's a No My Darling. I think.
Yeah, he's like everyone's like mellow out, man. It's not that big of a deal. And he says, sanctifying the sadistic might be deranged. So excuse me. I love that line.
Also, another great LP line. Like people underrate LP because people like, oh yeah, Killer Mike's like way better on LP. I think LP's better than Killer Mike on Run the Jewels 2. On Run the Jewels 1,
I saw them live too. LP was much more entertaining.
like I think Killer Mike is a more entertaining personality. Like you listen to interviews. Like I think my favorite interview that they did was the one they did with Noisy, like the People versus Run the Jewels, or like Killer Mike goes on this rant about Williamsburg, and he's like, it's like, okay, so one day you're gonna get to go to this place called Williamsburg, and it's like Mecca, and it's like Mecca to hipsters, like, oh god, I'm butchering. It's like Mecca to Muslims to hipsters to Williamsburg or something like the ones with that, and he's like, it's like there are girls riding bikes with fat asses and Woody Allen glasses, and they don't give a fuck about cardio, and they have overpriced fried chicken, and your life is going to be fucking great. Which I think Killer Mike is a very entertaining personality. I think Killer Mike's great on the album too, but like I just think LP is a little bit better in certain places because like technically LP is a better rapper than Killer Mike. Like LP lyrics are like you look into them, you go, oh my god, this is insane. Like they're so fucking
clever rhymes too that you wouldn't know if you read the album or read the lyrics.
And like my favorite LP line on the album is "Teabag a Piranha Tank."
Yep.
And one of my favorite songs is the one they did with the Travis Barker song. It's "All Due Respect." I love the part on the song where they're talking about they're motherfuckers on the song, literally. It's talking about LP's like it's like, oh yeah, it's like sorry about your mom abandoned you because you fucking suck. I'm gonna bang her now.
Oh yeah, that's a really clever line. Whatever they do there with he's like, here's $1, don't follow behind me.
Here's $1, don't follow behind me. And it again, overall, it's a very I'm kind of stealing Alex's thunder here. I'm so sorry because it was originally on my top 3, but I think I changed it so we could talk about it. So our lists are a bit more different.
It's fine.
Yeah, I really liked Run the Jewels too. I thought that there was a lot of steps up from the original one. I mean, I think that the first half of this album is a lot stronger than the second half. I mean, I think the album as a whole is really good, but I think that the first fifth, or like the 5 or 6 stretch of songs from Jeopardy to Lie, Cheat, Steal is like sick. Like I'm
gonna disagree on you on this one. I think the second half's better than the first half. I mean, I think, let's see.
Crown is a great song. Like that's probably the highest song for me. Like that's just, I don't know, it's just really catchy. And
which one?
I get really into it. Crown, the second last song.
Let's get one consensus here. What is the opinion on Love Again?
I hate that song.
I don't hate it. I don't.
Well,
I think it's a good song. I think it's a good song. The thing is, I bought the CD of Run the Jewels too, and it's not on the CD.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah.
It was a last minute addition to the it's only if you download the albm.
I dig it a lot. I think it's hilarious.
It's a good song. I really
when they play it live, it's hysterical.
It's not my least favorite song on the album is this is kind of unpopular, but my least favorite song on the album is the one they did with Zach De La Rocha.
Oh god.
Oh really?
I mean, it's a good song. It's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but it's
song
just,
is my favorite.
I think it sounds like, let's see, I don't know how to. I think it sounds like the cheapest out of all the songs on there. Just because like the beat is sort of like okay, there's
the beat is a little bit gimmicky. I guess I think I know where you're coming from. I love it. I still love it.
The rhythm of the song is a little like, and then Zach De La Rocha's verse. It's good. It's a good song, but like it's my least favorite just because
I wasn't into his verse at first, but it's pretty clever once you like read the lyrics. I think a lot. Yeah,
his line. It's like I'm miles ahead of you. You can sip my bitch's brew.
Yeah,
it's a really clever line.
That's funny. Yeah.
I think that the best part about that track is the chemistry between LP and Killer Mike is like really good. Like that's. I mean, it's
in general, honestly. It's just
in general, yeah. But I mean, I really love how they at the beginning of the song they're going back and forth, and I just love that part a lot.
Back and forth.
I think the chemistry is just it's so great because it shouldn't. If you think about it, it shouldn't work because it's like LP is like this sort of like chubby, New York producer / rapper, very experimental, sort of like, dystopian themes in his music. And while Killer Mike is like this underground Atlanta rapper, worked with was one of the members of the Dungeon family, worked with Outkast and all these, great Atlanta artists. And like they shouldn't work together so well, but they work so well because it's yin to the yang, basically.
Yeah.
They're opposites.
They're such great friends that they make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like watching interviews with them, it's like, again, if you want like a good example of their chemistry, like you watch interviews with them, and like they're just like their banter is so great. Like I think Killer Mike on the Over Under series on Pitchfork, Killer Mike at the beginning, it starts off with like his rant about Hulk Hogan and how he fucking sucks and how Ric Flair's way better. It's like Hulk Hogan is pure Republican. It's like I want you to say your prayers. I want you to eat your vitamins. I want you to listen to your parents. And while it's like he's doing cocaine. It's like, you know who I like? I like Ric fucking Flair. Woo! He's like, he's like, I got cars, women, expensive clothes, And Killer Mike is, again, great chemistry. Killer Mike's fucking hilarious. I love listening to Killer Mike interviews because he's so fucking funny and he's so entertaining. I think
Anyway, going back to me.
I
was gonna say just in the song earlier, that song's really good. Just because also how the gun pulls the wife on his the cop pulls the gun on his wife, and it's like in front of his kids. So it's just kind of showing how the kids already start hating the cops because they didn't do anything wrong, right? They didn't have a gun or a knife, but the cops pull on it. I thought it was just like kind of like an interesting view on everything, especially with the Ferguson stuff going on right now.
I haven't heard that before. That's actually a really interesting way to look at that song.
Yeah, I just thought like the whole thing was about how he was young, but his kids were young too, and how it affected them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. Anyway, so the second one was, of course, I already talked about Swans to Be Kind. It was originally my most favorite of the year, but then that changed. But that's the song that I've risked a lot with because I just keep playing that on blast whenever I got it on CD.
Wait, what song?
No, Swans to Be Kind. Did I say song? I meant album.
Yeah, I have it. I bought it on CD and on vinyl.
Yeah, I wanted to get it on vinyl, but it was like $40.
No, I got it for cheap. I think I got it for like
it's
$30.
Cheaper now.
I got it for like $30.
Yeah, what's the most expensive?
I pre-ordered it, so I had to have it signed.
I'm kind of curious about this. It's really doesn't have a lot to do with it. But what's the most you've ever spent on like an individual album, like vinyl?
I spent $300 on that Arcade Fire Tunnels.
I spent $45 on the Little Ugly Mane Mr. Thug Isolation repress that's going to be coming out, which hopefully I get next month because they're saying it's going to probably come in like January.
I spent $45 on Tyler the Creator Pink Colored Wolf vinyl. So
was it good pressing?
I spent $50 on a Future Islands album from France, which was supposed to be colored. It was for my girlfriend for Christmas, and then it was black.
Oh.
Well, it is colored technically. It is colored.
It's a shade, isn't it?
The best part about that Tyler the Creator Wolf album on vinyl was the original album cover. It's like it's his face, and it's like it has like the golf guy in the background.
Yeah.
That his face, it comes like as a sticker. It's this humongous sticker of Tyler the Creator's face. I opened it up. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever gotten. So
was it a good present? Because I feel like Odd Future.
Yeah, it sounded good. Like I'm not much of like a critique or anything. I don't know. I can't really. I think it sounds good in my opinion. Like, there's nothing that sounds bad.
Because the big thing with Odd Future, I was a huge Odd Future fan, by the way. Like back in the day, like 2011, whenever like Yonkers was out, like Tape Volume 2 was like the hype was really big for Odd Future, and like I always feel like because people complain about the mixing, because the mixing is it's awful, really awful mixing on those early ones. Like with their mixtapes in like 2010, it was charming, but like with Goblin, like the mixing was horrible. It's like, okay, this is like a studio album, it shouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, we should stop talking about this now and go back to the whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah,
You're talking about
playing it. I was playing it on my stereo, and like I kept on blasting it as loud as I could because you can't listen to that song and not like that album and not blast it because it's just it's so epic. Yeah, and you really get into it. It's just like what's that one song?
It's an experience.
It's an experience, and you're sitting through there, and it's just like you're shaking, especially to the final song where it says there's like millions of stars in your eyes. It's you just like at the end, you're just like, holy crap! You shout your pants.
It's an epic song. What's your guys' favorite? Okay, I didn't mention this earlier when I was talking about To Be Kind. What's your guys' favorite song on To Be Kind? If of course you listen to it and you like it.
Oxygen.
I don't listen to that album at all, really. But like, I think the best one, my favorite song on that was the first song. I like Screenshot a lot. I thought it was pretty. I thought the build up.
I'm obsessed with She Loves Us.
Oh, me too. I was gonna say that was my favorite also.
Screaming, your name is fuck.
Your name is
over and over again. What the hell does that mean?
And I love the progression of the songs. It starts with like like the part where like the drums break down.
Yeah, the drums are just.
It's like it sounds like a thunderstorm going on.
I listened to that whole album like in one sitting once, and it kind of all blended together. So like I can remember like snippets.
You should go back and listen to it. It's a great album.
I should, but I mean like
you have to take 2 hours of your day to listen to it though.
Yeah. My favorite have to be Oxygen, Just a Little Boy, and To Be Kind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I love.
There's not a bad song on the album.
There's not.
Yeah,
no. It's like I said earlier. It's the reason why the album is so great because it's like every song is different, but it all fits within like the same tone, and that's why the album works so well. So what was your number one?
My number one was Mac DeMarco. I actually never listened to him to this year. I actually met him before I listened to his album. Because I went to the Polaris event, and I met like a bunch of really famous people. I met like Win Butler from Arcade Fire, and I also met
Polaris?
Uzi. It's like an award just for like Canadian artists. It's kind of like the Junos, but like smaller. Some native girl won it here. I have it on Spotify.
Because I was thinking of Polaris, like the YouTube.
It was
thing.
like Tanya Tangwa. I think she's like Inuit or something. But Tanya, I don't know how to say her name. It's like it's really weird.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah, I met the guy and I was like, holy shit! And I took a photo with Win Butler and he said, "Say Mac DeMarco." So I'm like, shit, I should probably listen to this guy. So I sat down and listened to it, and I thought it was pretty chill. It's definitely not like the way you said it, Matty. Is like you said it was like meant to be a different song was meant to be different each time. It was really like every song is kind of really similar. It feels like you almost blended together a little bit, not fully, but I just thought it was really relaxing. Kind of like I hadn't listened to anything like that in a while. That was new.
I mean, it's a very short album. It's very fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's kind of just like, take it slow, and it's like a really nice thing to like just sit down and relax on your sofa too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also felt like I had to put this as number one because there's a lot of hate going around on Indieheads on this album.
Because
like,
again, Mac
people are
DeMarco
hating him.
Because Mac DeMarco is basically okay.
A goofball.
He is little. Okay, so Little B is to okay. Let's see what.
Yeah, Lil
Let's see. Actually, no. Kanye is to our hip hop heads as Mac DeMarco is to r/indie heads.
Yeah, but sometimes people get really into it. Like they get way too mad about it. It's like he's not a big star. Like he came and played in Toronto and he got like 2,000 people and that was like the most. But he mostly plays for like 150 guys.
He's got a great personality.
Yeah, it's got a great personality. I feel like he is like Kanye. He has like a lot of money. He's super popular. But Mac DeMarco, he's just like this small guy who's just like wanting to play music. Yeah, he just wants to play music and have a good time. So
yeah, we should do a tooth gap competition vote between Twigs and DeMarco.
No, I think he wins.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? I think I posted this on our Indie Heads like 2 weeks ago. Mac DeMarco was on the Eric Andre show.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, but
that was alright.
I know this is an indie music podcast, and we shouldn't talk about TV too much. But the Eric Andre show is the funniest show on TV right now. To me, it's so fucking funny.
It's
and like
any TV.
More people gotta watch Adult Swim.
Yeah, Adult Swim is just on fire right now. I recently watched Mike Tyson Mystery, which is a really funny show. And like Mike Tyson, he voices himself, and you hear him like butchering his own his lines, and you just fucking laugh because his goddamn lisp. But okay, anyways, back to of course Mac DeMarco is Solidays. It was pretty high on my list about 6 months ago, like the half of the year list. It was like number 2, but it's kind of gone down since then. And yeah, it's a great album. But my song of the year is Chamber of Reflection.
My song of the year is Chamber of Reflection.
That's a good song.
Oh my God, AJ, we have so much in common.
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, I love the kind of because the album's sort of laid back, optimistic, kind of like put it on and just.
It's very happy, and then the song it's very kind of depressing.
You get this kind of introspective sort of let down vibe from Chamber of Reflection,
and like the
instrumentation too. I love it.
Like the synth is really like the hopefully for his next album. He uses more of the synthesizer because Passing Out Pieces is really good and Chamber of Reflection is really good. I really hope he goes more into like synthesizers with the next album.
Definitely.
Because Chamber of Reflection is great because it's like this sort of more introspective and like the synth is really good. It's like a sample from like some sort of Japanese
song, yeah.
Or a Japanese song, and then the drums are very. It's a very simple song, and the back is very emotional on the song. It's great. I really love it. My song of the year.
Me too.
Okay, so let's see. Who is next?
I'll go on to mine. I'm next.
Okay, AJ. Yep, you are next, AJ. So go ahead.
Will. Disclaimer: I had Swans at 2 on my list, but I think we've talked about it enough, so I'll just bump something else up. And I'll talk about Pinata by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Probably my favorite hip hop album of the year.
I disagree, but I'll talk about that a little bit later.
You disagree that it's his favorite album?
No, I disagree. Well, I disagree with it. It's not my favorite hip hop album of the year. My favorite hip hop album of the year is Death Grips or Run the Jewels 2.
Yeah, I also have Clipping pretty high up on my hip hop lists as well. But
these are my honorable mentions.
Freddie Gibbs.
That's underrated.
What I dig about this album so much is Freddie Gibbs as a hip hop artist before this record was really not that kind of, good. I'll say he kind of just muddled. His lyrics were sort of uninspired, and he kind of just muddled along some of these half-ass beats. But to rap over Madlib beats takes a lot of kind of
takes skill.
Fluidity. Yeah, it takes a lot of skill, and Freddie Gibbs kicks these beats his ass. Like he owns this album, and his lyrics are hysterical. It's like the most gangster album of 2014, without a doubt. He's got a song where he just raps about hanging out with his friends and going and buying chicken wings. Speaking.
I think we'll maybe talk about this. Speaking of gangster albums, it's not on my list. It's my least favorite album of the year. Is My Crazy Life by YG. I don't get why people like that album. It's awful.
That's awful. That's awful.
DJ Mustard is the worst producer right now, easily. He's so bad. Like, I hear him on the radio, I'm like, oh my god, why do people like this guy? Why do people like YG in general? YG's just an extremely mediocre rapper, and DJ Mustard is the worst fucking producer.
That is a terrible, terrible album.
Makes the same beat over and over again, okay? I actually kind of
respect guys, though, you know.
Hey. Okay, but anyways, back to Pinata.
Yeah, Pinata, just great fucking album. The closing track, Pinata, this kind of ensemble, he brings in a shit ton of rappers, and they all kill it. He's got
Damo Genesis.
He's got Damo. Yeah. Damo is so good on this album.
The guy from Flatbush Zombies.
Michi Darko, I think.
Yeah, Michi Darko. His verse incredible, and someone who I don't respect as an artist at all, Mac Miller, kills it. His verse is so good on that song. I got a lot of respect for him.
Danny Brown too.
Danny Brown's feature on High.
No, he's on that song. I think he's on
High. He's on High.
He's on High.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know if you were talking about that one song or not. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Damo does so well. Yeah.
Great lyrics.
I just want to highlight Damo too. By the way, sorry. Damo, like I listened to a lot about Future projects, and I thought Damo was kind of mediocre. Like he was probably like fourth or fifth. Like, you know, in terms of, like, you know, being like a technically skilled rapper. Like he's okay, but like he kills it on every song he's on. And this like Robes, he's really good. And on the same title track, Pinata, he's really good. I really love how Damo stepped up his game on this album.
Damo's, it's been since 2013. He had the verse on Rusty, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, this dude can rap!" Like before, he was just sort of like this mediocre stoner rapper, and he comes out Rusty. He's like, he's hungry. He was really hungry. It's like, okay, this dude is legit. Like, he's really good. And then like he had a mixtape this year, Under Influence too, which I didn't really listen to, and I tried listening to it, and I just was like so bored out of my mind. It's just, you know. It's kind of because I think in 2013 he should have released some sort of EP. He did a bunch of features though, which I guess is fine, but he should release his own little thing to show like, okay guys, I can kill it on features and I can do my solo stuff also. But
alright, I'll move on to my next album, which is Future Island's Singles. I heard Seasons before this album dropped, and like Future Islands were completely off my radar. I heard Seasons, I watched the Letterman performance with that dance, and I was like, alright, this album's going to kill it. And it's pretty much like a perfect pop album. Every song just kind of, like, doesn't overstay its welcome. Really just kind of infectious, kind of like synth pop album. I love every single song on here, and they change it up with, I think his name's Sam Herring. He does this kind of vocal growl thing on some of the tracks where he gets really, like, screamo almost, especially on Fall From Grace. I love this album. Like, it's not the best, it's not the most well-produced album of the year, it's no Swans, but, like, I would put this album on and listen to it front to back, like, 5 times in a row.
Okay, so I did listen to it briefly once, and, like, I think a few weeks ago, and I probably need to go back and listen to it, because at the time I was like, I don't know, because I didn't really like the singer. I just thought that the singing was a little weird.
Yeah, his voice is very unique, but I think that's, you know, part of it. The album would get boring without, like, it's his voice that definitely carries this album.
Yeah, I feel that way too listening to it. I wish it wasn't like that though. I wish there was a little more to the background, like in the instruments.
Yeah, and that's I think Fantano, that was one of his complaints about it too, is that the stuff going on in the background isn't as good as the vocals. But I don't know, there was nothing wrong with it in my opinion. If it had gone further, it might have been, you know, my favorite album of the year.
Yeah, I hope the next one does go further. I really liked this album. It just didn't go far enough for me.
Alright, and my number one, what did go far enough for me, was Sun Kill Moon's Benji. This album is a masterpiece, in my opinion. It's not only my favorite album of the year, it's probably my 4th or 5th favorite album of all time. Like, this album is incredible.
I did listen to it before the podcast because I wanted to, because there's a few albums, because I saw everyone's list. I'm like, okay, I should probably listen to some of these albums. I only had enough time to listen to Ice Age albums and Sun Kill Moon Benji. But I tried listening to it at first. The first track I thought was boring. I was like, I can't really get into this. But I listened to it before, and I was like, this is fantastic. It's a great album. Like, the songwriting is fantastic. Like,
and yeah, this is an album that your first impression cannot define it for you. You need to. I mean, this album.
You gotta sit. You gotta listen. You gotta like read the lyrics as he's like singing them. That's what I did.
I have without a doubt listened to this album front to back every single week this year. probably more than once, and every single time it hits all of these emotional beats. Like, it is so incredible. The level of depth that these lyrics go to, like, Marco's, like, opens up pretty much more than I've ever heard on an album before, and people will rag on the lyrics kind of being, like, cheap and,
some people say there's too many details in the lyrics. Like,
they're too kind of
Panera
rhymey,
Bread.
poetic. Yeah, the Panera Bread sponsorship as well. I don't
Erotic
know.
placement. That Mark Hall's like, he's a sellout. He's a sellout. He's a shill.
This album tells a story, and unlike like any albums that tell stories, this album tells a story that is like his entire life. He opens up to you like insane amounts, and he's referencing things on tracks that you'll listen to it the first time and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, and then he'll go back and like he talks about his grandma on one of the tracks about her passing away, and then the later track on the album, Michaeline, goes into like the story of her life, and you go back and when he references his grandma passing away in an earlier song, it hits you harder. You're like, wow. You feel like you get to know Marco's life through this album. It's like a book put to music, pretty much. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about like being like he got in a fight with a kid in elementary school, and he was like really sad about it. He felt really sorry for hitting a kid.
The song remains the same. That track is 10 minutes long, has this beautiful, beautiful breakdown in the middle of it, and that song is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite track on here though is Dogs, and I won't listen to this out. Like I'll play this album for anyone because I think it's amazing, but I will not listen to Dogs like with another human being in the room if this is like over speakers or something. That song is raunchy, man.
Yeah.
Richard Ramirez died of natural causes.
Yeah, Richard Ramirez died of natural causes. Really interesting song because he actually wrote it because his girlfriend texted him that Richard Ramirez died of natural causes today, and he made a whole song out of it. It's just like, wow, that's really interesting that you can do that.
And one of the themes throughout the upkeep, you go first.
No, you go for it.
No, you go first. No, you hang up the phone. But I want to say Richard Ramirez, like, one thing he talks about in this album is like sort of like I think he mentions it on two songs. Of course, the Newtown shootings is one of the songs. Like I think it's a song called Newtown, where it kind of talks about like where there's all these horrible events going on in life, and everyone else is just sort of like moved on, and like they're just sort of like living their own life, and he sort of has like a trouble like understanding that at times throughout the album. I think is what I'm interpreting from it.
Mm-hmm.
So you agree or disagree? A lot of the album is very much dealing. It's like,
let
okay,
me pause you for a sec. That's actually what I was going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's, in my opinion, the weakest song on here. And then I saw Mark in September, and what he did for the last half hour of his set is he just straight up took requests. But what he's like, any song from his entire discography, because he was Red House Painters, he has a ton of solo shit.
Mm-hmm.
So his disclaimer though was, I'm not going to play Newtown. I'm never going to play that song again. I think it's the weakest song on this album, and I think Mark agrees with me. Like, I think he regrets writing that song. So
I don't think that's why he wouldn't have sang it.
I think because it's kind of like a song. It's not really a good song to play at a concert because it's about the Newtown shootings and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's very like I mean of course the album itself is very depressing. But
the way he said it though wasn't like that. He said I'll play any song except Newtown. I'm never fucking playing that song again.
All right.
I don't know. My list. I saw him live too, and he was really interesting. Like, he was really pissy, though, because it was just like after he yelled at the people, I can't remember, was it in South Carolina or something? I can't remember, but he was yelled at these people calling them hillbillies. He was really pissed. He came on stage saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
He called, and then was it the same show or was it a different show where he called out the War on Drugs?
No, that was just after the show.
That was at a festival with War on Drugs.
This was in Toronto. That was right before he went to Ottawa, where he said that.
I will close out my segment by saying, War on Drugs, Suck My Cock might be another Song of the Year contender. Like, holy shit. That could have fit on this album. That's what's hysterical about that song.
Mm-hmm. Indie beef is the greatest beef. You got hip-hop, you have the great beefs. You have, like, Tupac versus Biggie, Nas versus Jay-Z, Sun Kill Moon versus War on Drugs. There you go. Drop the mic.
Oh my god.
2014 beefs.
Freaking Ariel Pink and Grimes. Ariel Pink in general. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I didn't listen.
I like that album too.
To go off topic, I didn't listen to the album for a while because of like some of the shit I heard about him. Like he was dissing Grimes and like the thing is I don't like I haven't listened to Grimes, but like
Grimes is just as annoying as
that's true because I was saying like again he made comments he was asked to work on Madonna's album. He's like she hasn't really made a good album since like her first one. And Grimes was like, how could you say that, you misogynist? Like, he called him misogynist. It's like that doesn't really make him a misogynist for saying he doesn't like Madonna.
I try to separate, the artist from the music, and like with Benji now, people are gonna shit all over it even more because Mark Kozelek has basically elevated himself to meme status with this beat. But it's a great album. It's a great album.
Meanings haven't changed.
Okay, so now for the final person, the finalist, Jeremiah.
Last but not least.
Last but not least, we have the Jeremiah K. Killer Trap.
Okay, so my number 3, I think I did it in reverse order. My number 3 was the Griswolds Be Impressive, which is not my best, it's not one of the best albums of the year, it's just one of my favorites. It's this like guilty pleasure indie pop album, which is very 80s, and there's a few hiccups in it, but it's one of those albums that I think I'm just going to find myself listening to at least once every month.
Because you were the last, so you were the last person to put your list in. Like, everyone else's albums, like, I recognize, but, like, your album's, like, I'm like, who the hell are the Griswolds? Who the hell is Lemonade? I was like, what the hell? Who the hell is this?
What's St. Vincent, dude? Oh, my God.
I know St. Vincent's.
No one said St. Vincent.
We'll talk about St. Vincent.
You guys just spoiled this whole list.
Hey, you did.
Oh,
thanks,
I'm so
guys.
sorry. Oh, God.
What? No, we don't know who that is.
Oh,
But yeah,
anyway,
the
so
Griswolds, I've never heard of
they're
them.
they're really
Check them out.
catchy. They're one of those like the classic indie pop where they have really catchy music, but their lyrics are like really dark and like angsty. So it's like if you're happy, you can listen to them, but if you're bitter and mad at the world, you can also listen to them.
Yay.
They have one really good song called "Beware the Dog." You should check it out if you guys have never heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And then Lemonade. I love Lemonade. They're like my favorite. They're one of my favorite indie bands. They're like electronic, psychedelic.
That's actually good.
Ambient.
I'm interested now.
Yeah, I have heard
like-
this record, and I really dug it.
I need to
like-
check it out.
Like
Cause-
what's dream pop? It's like crazy.
This is the first time I've heard of it. Like
World
anyone talking
beat,
about
like
it. So.
crazy shit's going on. There's indie pop. There's like signs of indie pop. But there's also like signs of experimental shit and like prog rock. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good record. It's hard to describe. I'm not good at describing things anyways, but it's definitely one of my favorites of the year. Like, not a lot of people reviewed it. I noticed Pitchfork didn't review it, and I think most people who did review
They
it...
put one of the songs on their track list, actually.
Oh,
On
really?
the top 100 songs. Yeah, because that's weird. Because they didn't
Really?
they didn't review Taylor Swift's album, but they put it in the top 25, I think, of the year.
Yeah, I don't know what their schedule is for these things, but it seems really weird at times.
Because I think I think 1989. I mean, I like 1989. It's a good album. I think it's because
Actually the best of the year.
It's without a doubt the best album of the year.
it's probably my sister's favorite album of the year. Because the thing is, my sisters, they were obsessed with Taylor Swift, and they played her all the time, and it was torture to me because I hated country music, and I still sort of hate a lot of modern country music, like modern pop country music. I won't dismiss country music in general, but like the current state of country music and the mainstream.
There's an
It's like, I'm gonna go down in my truck.
Have
to
you
the
heard?
light.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm gonna
So,
see
that's
a
actually a
girl
literal
and
song.
drink.
I'm gonna go on a
Gonna
country
beat
music
my wife
tangent.
with my alcohol.
I'm gonna go
So-
into like I see a girl with some really nice
We're gonna
jeans.
start an our country heads beef here.
Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna go on a tangent.
Yeah, we're gonna start rating our indie head.
So where I work, my boss, he only plays country music, right? He only plays like the country music radio, and so they only
Country
have like
Heads does
20
not
songs
exist.
that they play
Oh god, that's
on-
not, I'm
Jesus.
sorry.
on repeat, right?
I
So
feel
there's a few of them that stand out. The first one is called "God Made Girls," which is by this like 16-year-old, and it seems like it's gonna be like a really nice like, yeah, go girls song. But then it turns out she's saying that like God made girls for the sole purpose of like flirting with guys and
Wow.
giving them reasons to clean their truck. And I was just like, holy shit!
okay, no,
Why
this
did you
okay,
make this song?
okay.
Like,
Do you
there's
guys watch?
another song?
Do you guys watch Parks and Recreation?
Yeah.
In season 6, there's Bo Burnham has a cameo on the thing where he plays like a country music.
Oh, I love that episode.
And it's like a perfect embodiment of like the current state of country music, where it's like he's talking, it's like, oh yeah, support the troops, just randomly in the song. So okay, but yeah, we're getting off topic.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
You're talking about Lemonade's album.
Oh, Lemonade, right? It's hard to describe. It's like.
I mean,
it's
the
a
way
really
you described it, like the genres you're putting in, it sounds very interesting. Like I probably would like it, so I'll have to check it out for this podcast.
It takes a few listens to get into, but once you like the fifth listen, I was like, this is a fantastic album because I really liked their second one.
Mhm.
The second one kind of lacked a little bit of depth, but there were some really good tracks on it. But this one, it has a lot of depth, and it just feels great. It's one of those like records that you can listen to when you're driving, when you're sleeping, when you're eating, and it just like feels good no matter what's going on. Just like great vibes. And then last one, number one, St. Vincent, self-titled. fucking love this album. Do you guys listen to St. Vincent?
Okay, I discovered her this year through this album, and like she has a great discography. I already have like Saint Vincent and Strange Mercy on vinyl.
Like this album, what she does with guitar on this
She's
album
an insane guitarist.
wigs me out.
Oh,
I
caught her live this summer.
The thing is, like, she opened for Black Keys in earlier this month, and I'm like I forgot about the show, and I don't like Black Keys, so I'm like
She kills it with guitar. She's incredible.
It's what's so cool is that like almost all of the sounds on this album, and there's so many different sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But when I realized that most of them were coming from her guitar, I
Mm-hmm.
was blown away. Like for all I know, the horns on Digital Witness could be her guitar. Like it was just like so cool what she can do with that, and like the level of noise. But even though there's so much noise and like it sounds very like dense and noisy, it's still very clear. Like her voice is like clear over everything, even though it's distorted, even though there's all this crazy shit going on. It's just a very well made, very well produced, like good album.
Mm-hmm.
Digital Witness might be my song of the year. It's just so fucking catchy.
Too, about kind of technology, and it ties into like with her sitting on the throne. I just thought,
Such a good
it's
Prince Johnny.
Because originally it was my album of the year like a few months ago until probably like May when To Be Kind came out, and I was listening to that. I was like, oh my god, this is an incredible album. Like it sort of dropped to like my number 4 or number 5 album, I think, over the past few months. It's a great album still. I think it's fantastic. Like it's a fun album to listen to. She tries to she has like on like Digital Witness, you can obviously tell she has like a huge I think she really took when she worked with David Byrne of Talking Heads on that album. I think she really learned a lot while making that album, and really took inspiration from him and Talking Heads on this album, because the sounds on the album are kind of I guess it's her most mainstream friendly album, because you have like songs like Birth in Reverse and Digital Ones, like they easily go on the radio, and they would do great, and I wish they did great, because I would have loved to see St. Vincent going to number 1 on the pop charts. That would have been
Imagine she performed at the Grammys.
She never performed. No, I think she performed on Saturday Night Live.
She wins the Grammys. She could win all best.
Oh my god, I want her to win the best alternative album. I need her to win that album at the Grammys.
The only problem is
that
that they don't film that, or they do, but it's in between commercials, so they don't really do anything.
You can see it on YouTube, I believe.
They do that. They do that with hip hop also. They do that with hip hop also, and it's an insult to the genre.
I'm pretty sure hip hop is one of the few that they actually do the full.
No, they don't do it. No, last year
really
they didn't
not
do
anymore.
It. Last year they didn't do it with Macklemore's album. They didn't show it.
Really?
They didn't show it.
Because I know that used to be a big deal, because like obviously no hip hop artist is gonna win best album, so
except for Outkast. And Kanye should have won it. Kanye should have won it at least once.
Exceptions, but thankfully there was no jazz album released that year. Anyways, still salty about Graduation. I vividly remember when Graduation didn't win, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't even like Kanye, and I was just, what?
What did Graduation lose to?
Who was it? The jazz guy. He's famous. Herbie Hancock.
I don't think it was Herbie Hancock. It wasn't him. I'll make it up real quick.
It was the Josie Letters or something. The Joni River Letters, which was like, it was like nice, because it was like his friend and he died, and it was like, it's like thoughtful. But at the same time, it's no Graduation. Like, I mean, even though Graduation obviously isn't Kanye's best.
It should, because the album was super hyped up.
That was an album of the year. That was like an album of the year merit album. Anyways, because hip hop artists don't win.
Oh yeah, it was her. Oh, it was Hancock actually.
They gave them their own time slot for
Graduation won it.
Oh yeah, it was Herbie Hancock. I just looked it up.
Graduation won. What the?
No, it didn't win album of the year.
It won best rap album.
It won best rap.
Oh, you guys talking about album of the year? I was like, oh.
Yeah, album of the year.
No,
there's no. Herbie Hancock is not a rapper.
But for St. Vincent, this really did give her a lot of like mainstream appeal. Like pretty much every big list had this album really high up. I think Time and like Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
NP had it way up. I think Enemy had it at number 1. I think was it Stereo? No, it wasn't Stereo Gum. But yeah, a lot of
Time
I think NPR.
Time Magazine.
I know
Time
NPR
Magazine
didn't
had
do like numbers, but I'm pretty sure NPR stressed that it was their favorite.
I think so,
if I recall.
Which again,
such a good record.
It's a great record. I'm really glad like the St. Vincent's getting a lot of really big attention with this album.
All the recognition
she deserves it. She's She seems like a lovely woman. I really want to see her live. I really want to meet her. She seems like very fun to be around. She is my indie bae. She is my indie bae, by the way.
Indie Bay.
Yeah, that's me too. Me too.
Indie foo.
If I
She's
could,
like a lovely woman.
Indie foo. I don't know. Can you have a foo if they're real?
No, it'd be indie waifu. I say indie bae. It's a bit waifu's kind of out, man. That's not a dank meme right now. Waifu, that's not a dank meme. Bae is the dank meme.
I don't know.
Right
I think it's pretty dank still,
bro.
It's at the bottom of the swamp.
now. Okay. So yeah, same. I really do like some of the stuff she did on this album. I think let's see, what was the one song? Let's see. I think there were some songs like I'm trying to remember what song. Like I think like not Bring Me Your Loves. That's an insane song. It was like sort of like it was one song that was like sort of slower, and I didn't really like it that much.
I Prefer Your Love
Prince
Jesus.
Johnny.
No, Prince Johnny is a great song.
Prince Johnny.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
Johnny's,
pretty slow.
One of the best.
It's a
And
pretty
Prince
song
Johnny is
I
great.
think.
I really like
Prefer Your
the
Love.
No, I like it too. It's just slow, so I thought it would be it.
Prefer Your Love is kind of draggy, but it's
Prefer
kind
Your
of
Love.
like
Yeah, I think that's
it's
the
a
song
nice-
I'm talking about.
I feel like it's important to the album. It's like that important downtime.
I gave this album another listen recently, and I didn't like Prefer Your Love when I first heard this album, but I liked it, later.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those slow, like, it's one of those songs that comes later. It's one of the really emotional ones that like you kind of like on the surface you kind of miss it, and then you're like,
I guess it doesn't really fit into the album well, especially where it's placed. It
Mm.
might have been a good closer.
And the closer
well, I mean,
very
Severed
awesome.
Cross Fingers is like,
Circus is a very good closer. Sort of a melancholy closer. It still sounds somewhat epic, I would say. And speaking of St. Vincent, she was on Swans Is To Be Kind. She was in did some background vocals.
Yep.
she's on like every.
Not every song. She's on like I think she's
I mean,
on
on
like 3
every
songs.
album, not every
Yeah,
song.
she's in
She is,
Death Grips.
she is
too.
part of the intelligible
She was in Run the Jewels.
chanting.
She was in she's on like
God.
every national album ever made.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think
Like,
she
I'm
was.
pretty sure she like probably lives in the Dessner twins' house. Like they have 3 beds in their bedroom, like the twins, and then St. Vincent.
You guys hear about the rumors that she's been dating like Carrie Brownstein or whatever?
Yeah.
There's
She's
always
going to be on
those-
Sleater Kinney's new album as well.
Is she gonna be on the album?
Dude,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
she needs
awesome.
to date, she needs to go out with Sufjan Stevens.
I think she was on a. I think
I
she was
ship
on a.
that.
I think
She
she's
was
I
on-
think she's bi,
I
right?
think Indie Head would explode.
I think she sort of implied that she's bi. I think she's
Yeah.
implied it.
She
I think
does,
she
'cause
she
said
was
in like
on.
interviews that she doesn't really care about sexuality, or not that she didn't care about it, but she doesn't really care about like preferences.
Yeah, I think she was on. I think she's been on Sufjan Stevens' album before.
I totally
So I
ship
remember
that.
there was a video she had like a while back where they were like I think it was like some sort of French magazine was like playing her songs and she had to guess what the song was, and she would get really mad.
yeah,
'cause, like I
yeah,
think
yeah.
one of the songs she's like she couldn't guess it, and I was like, oh my god, I was on this album. How do I not know this? So
Did anyone see her new music video, Born in Reverse?
I
Just to know.
saw some of it.
was
It was interesting, I guess. It was.
it wasn't like Digital Witness was a really cool music.
Yeah, Digital
video,
Witness
but,
is a
like
cool
Birth in Reverse was just one of those like standard music videos that just kind of happened. It was enjoyable. It was like matched the music, but it wasn't like it was no blank space. Let's just put it that way.
Blank Space Man.
Video of the year.
Blank.
Songs
What is,
actually-
hold on. Before we close out this podcast, what is your guys' video of the year?
Oh, shit.
Blank space.
Never Catch Me.
Passing out pieces.
I think Clipping just released one for Get Up. Pretty great.
Oh, yeah, these videos are great. The Story 2 music video is pretty good. Like Story 2 is one of my songs of the year. Story 2 is such a
Get Up is
fantastic
just-
song.
It's the song that the beat is literally just an alarm going off, and what they did with the video is really cool. Like,
Yeah,
kind of
kinda like
ending.
pitch it
I think
down
someone's
and
mic is
like
messing.
Mark
AJ, I think your
Manson.
mic's messing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sorry for the technical
I
difficulties,
want to go on
guys.
this tangent.
Oh, God.
Do you guys watch? Are you guys
I
big
think
on
it's
like?
Alex.
I think it's Alex. Wait, I think it's
Do you guys
Alex.
see movies?
What's happening?
Oh God,
Oh
Alex.
gosh.
Alex, unplug your mic. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. Anyone? Sorry for people with headphones. Okay, so yeah, okay. That was the first ever r/Indieheads podcast. Hopefully, we will be back next week to do this, and to close out the podcast, we have the song of the week, which is the new Modest Mouse song, "Lampshades on Fire."
I forgot about
See you guys.
Adios.
Cool.
Bye.
Well, I'm going. Well, she's a bad, the last